What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 10 OK Chapter 191 Tsunade's Plan to Revive the Senju Clan. Konoha Calendar. July 7, 60 Ibajian took the Naruto cloak from the 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato and became Konoha's 5th Hokage. A new picture was carved on the Naruto rock. Konoha opened a new chapter. But the shock of the ninja world obviously has just begun. 1 month later, the Chunin exam was completely over. Konoha. Naruto office. Someone who sorted out the information of the genin in each ninja village let out a long sigh. Still the golden hair glancing at the picture of the man hanging on the wall, Minato smiled bitterly again and raised his head. Lu Ju. Why do you think this is? This is not the retirement life I long for. Nara Shikahisa, a newly appointed member of the Konoha political department standing nearby, shrugged. This work has to be done by someone, and compared to the tedious work after the reform. There are very few things that need to be handled by Hokage. But even so, Lord 5th generation doesn't have the intention to sit here. You should know that. Right. Just sit here and work honestly. The more legendary characters are, the more difficult it is to understand the brain circuits. Naraluji rubbed his temples for a long time. Chunin is now, and when he passes the assessment, I plan to familiarize him with the business. Now, by comparison, this is my real retirement. The thing is like this. Dear 5th generation has just taken up his post, and he never came again after only 2 days in the Hokage office. In his words, he is still young, and a lot of time spent doing these unnutritious work will lose his function beforehand, so he can take Minato to help him and take a good rest. In short, sitting in Hokage's office is 410 Minato. But there is no way, who makes Lord 5th generation a disciple of Lord 4th generation? It's not a big deal for the teacher to help with the apprentice. And as Naraluju said, Hokage's work is now limited to stamping a chapter to specify the general direction. Konoha, the huge ninja world heart, is always in motion. There is no shortage of outstanding talents in the village, so I don't work until late and I don't have time to go home and eat with my wife. Of course, Minato is not complaining, it's just a little emotional. He thought of this situation before that guy is not the one to look at the information in peace. He became the 5th Hokage more to represent the soul and spirit of Konoha. Representative of the will of fire. Turning his head and looking outside, Minato smiled on his face. Maybe when a new group of children grow up, he won't have a chance to help deal with these things. Konoha Central Plaza. Many people's names were filled on the majestic wall of glory and merit. And an old man with a crouched body was standing there quietly. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Konoha's 3rd Hokage, at this moment, you are worthy of the name of a movie. What Yi Bajian said echoed in his mind, and a touch of indifference flashed across Sarutobi's face. On the wall by ability. When the village was in crisis, he also had the desire to sacrifice himself to protect the village. Although Shinobu is old, Will of Fire never grows old, and it will be because of the older generation of ninjas. His actions were greatly affected, and the fire illuminates the next generation. This is the inheritance of the true Will of Fire. Look up, here is my name written on the wall. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Konoha 3rd Hokage, guarding the foundation of the predecessors conscientiously, without great credit. No serious sin, Chunin's spirit of sacrifice is worth learning, so remember the ordinary? Well enough. Even ordinary is not easy to do. Silently took out a bottle of wine, moved to the shame pillar next to him. So far the only wicked person is his old man. He was also remembered by the younger generation of Konoha, but he became a negative example. Maybe this way is also good, Danzo. Sprinkling the wine on the ground, Sarutobi stood blankly beside the pillar. Just stand quietly like this, pour some wine from time to time. I don't know how long it took, he turned and left, and finally said something. The place where the leaves fly, the fire is endless. The fire will continue to illuminate the village and allow new leaves to sprout. Paused. He seems to be a little old and walks back. The deceased is withering one after another, like leaves falling in the wind. Swish. Behind him, a tall figure is carrying a broom. Glancing at the bright wall of merit and the bleak pillar of shame. The pouring wine frowned. Obviously, this behavior of pouring wine in the central square at will has caused great inconvenience to the cleanup work. What about work? Mr. Madara, who was wearing sunglasses, was going to use fire style to bake it for a while, and then used wood style to change a piece of land. Kakashi, who came to pay homage to his father with flowers behind him, suddenly spoke. Is there no news from 5th generation? Madara put down her broom and frowned. Although Sweeping said he cultivated his character, he wanted to know who said that the era of ninja was over. Not sure. Shaking his head and placing the bouquet in front of the heroine monument, Kakashi bowed and turned away. Jonsong, there is a question I don't understand. The land of the Uchiha clan, familiar Sakura flower forest. It's early autumn, and Sakura flowers are gradually withering and scattered from among them. The man is sitting on the stone pier under the tree and drinking, Ferret leaning on the tree pole with a trace of doubt on his face. After responding, the man took another mouthful of erguodo. Rolled over lazily. The meaning of a ninja is to fight constantly, to protect what you want to protect in the fight. Object. But once this kind of struggle disappears, I mean like now, the ninja world is about to complete the unification, so where will the ninja go? In the future, there will be fewer fights, and ninjas are high-risk occupations. I am afraid that many people are more willing to join in. Ordinary life. If you continue to develop a ninja without fighting in this situation, what value and meaning does the ninja have? I'm afraid they can only die slowly. Is this the price of peace? Some confused Itachi wants to get the answer in Bajian's mouth. Peace comes. What is the point of ninja protecting people? After reunification, there will be no disputes, but is the history of those ninjas only a choice? You. Throwing the wine gourd to Itachi, Bajian let out a hazy breath. If someone exists, there will be disputes. While some people are born to fight, such as Uchiha Madara, some people want to be calm. In life, even if you are strong, you don't want to hurt others with a strong force. This Shisui body. The performance is obvious. So how to deal with those militants? This is a learning. Draw a knife, lightly waved at the air in front of him. An unstable spatial crack slowly appeared in front of Itachi. Sooner or later the resources of the ninja world will be exhausted, this is generally accepted. Then when resources are scarce, in order to survive, war will erupt. Pointing to the random crack in the space, Bajian showed a hot gaze. But the competition for resources is divided into internal fighting and aggression. I want to ask you, if the ninja world is about to collapse, you need to plunder supplies from other worlds. Will you draw swords and fight for the people behind you? Putting militants into other worlds and expanding the resources of the ninja world is what Bajian wants to do after the final reunification. The system's advanced task, crowned as, hasn't been completed yet, but Bajian asked for relevant information. It means that when he successfully controls the ninja world and is completely promoted to the king, the ninja world will be completely. The bottom became his main base, then it invades other worlds, gains resources to expand the main world, and connects to the subworlds to achieve a balance. With a spoof idea, Bajian waved his hand and the space crack slowly disappeared. If the ninja world collapses and needs to invade other worlds, will I have the courage to draw a sword and fight? Itachi was stunned. Other worlds? This concept is really unacceptable to him. But if other worlds really exist, in order to protect the people behind to invade other worlds and disturb the peace of other worlds. This approach is no different from robbers. Well, there are many different worlds. The worlds we can reach must be all 4/4. The cracked situation, put away your kind brother. That is to help them sail down. Standing up and patting Itachi on the shoulder, Bajian smiled again. And you don't think that the people over the space crack are so bully, maybe they can defend you with just one finger. The Ōtsutsuki family I told you is the level of sage of 6 paths per capita. For us, we are the invaders of other worlds. Weak and small, will definitely be beaten. Prepare. The day after tomorrow's eye replacement surgery, Orochimaru will perform the surgery himself. Itachi lowered his head after receiving Jianang's wine gourd. Blurred in the eye, the great cause of reunification has not yet been completed. There are many dissatisfied people in the ninja world, and the Yishao team has been frequently dispatched recently, compared with his pupil power consumption. The speed is obviously too fast. With frequent use of Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu, this situation will definitely happen. However, Shisui's distinguished heavenly gods has never come in handy, so the pupil power is still well preserved. Moreover, Shisui's strength is also not bad without using Shisui's physical fitness level. Is there an eye change operation? Finally arrived this day? Swap Sasuke's eyes with his eyes, and added the powerful pink eye drops that Kensang said. Eternity above Mangekyo. Does Mangekyo really exist? Lifting his head to stare at the back of the man in the distance, Itachi bowed. For himself, Jonsong did too much. Boy, finally found you. Just out of the Uchiha clan, Bajian is still considering who to take a bath with at night. But Tsunade with Shizune blocked the door. What's up? I don't know if it is an illusion or a real matter. Recently, Bajian always feels that Tsunade's eyes are not quite right. Come with me for a drink. Turning his eyes, Tsunade coughed. Go to Konoha restaurant. Where is this singing? Bajian was stunned, and was dragged forward by Tsunade. Konoha restaurant. To Bajian's surprise, Tsunade invited him to the top suite. In the living room, a table of food has been prepared. Sitting down facing each other, Bajian looked dumbfounded. What the hell are you doing? Drink. The opposite. Tsunade raised his glass and drank it. But Shizune's expression next to him was unnatural. Wait a minute, just say something straight up. Bajian frowned, always feeling something was wrong. It's nothing. As the patriarch of the Senju clan, I think it should be worth asking you to have a meal in return. Danzo's affairs, village affairs, and Shunan's exam. I saw my grandfather again, thank you. After another glass of wine, Tsunade squinted his eyes with a blush on his face. Why? Don't give face. Is that so? Bajian suddenly realized. It's not that you don't give face. After all, it's rare for people like Tsunade to think of repaying kindness. Moreover, the price of the food at the table and the suite is not cheap. According to Bajian's guess, if she has money, she will definitely take a gamble. She was even willing to treat her. It happened that I didn't eat in the evening, and it's nice to have someone treat me. Raising his glass, Bajian drank it all in one fell swoop. But after a mouthful of stuffiness, I suddenly realized something was wrong. This wine. A feeling of dizziness came, and the man turned Byakugan and fainted. Shizune. Quick, it's time to revive the Senju clan. Tap the table. Tsunade tapped the floor, and instantly summoning produced a weird vessel. Why should I do this kind of thing? Shizune was short of breath, pulling Bajian's body and dragging it to the sofa next to it. Then I aimed at Bajian's martial arts uniform and took out the scissors. This girl has never seen such a scene. Blushing, she stretched out her hand. 3.6. Hurry up, you need fresh ones. This guy's physique is pervert, and all of ecstasy and so on didn't work well before, but I took a lot of effort and even consulted Orochimaru to make this medicine. Tsunade is also not calm, especially wherever she looks is forbidden to her. Excuse me. Borrow something. The hand just went down. But Shizune suddenly raised his head, but he met the eyes of the playful man on the sofa. At the next moment, Shizune and Tsunade were dumbfounded. So possible? Tsunade looked dumbfounded. This potion was tested with 9 tails, and even with the physique of 9 tails, one can sleep for 3 days and 3 nights with a cup. She doesn't ask Bajian to be in a coma for so long, it only takes a few minutes. This kid. Is it pervert? Oh, they're all from the same village. Speak straight if you want to borrow. Bajian shook his head and instantly grabbed Tsunade and pressed it aside. But I don't like the passive removal method, it's better. Change the way? Close to Tsunade, Bajian whispered. How? How to change? After swallowing, Tsunade suddenly felt that things had become complicated. Absolute control. That's all. Grave egg. Konoha restaurant. Night fell. The patrons are a little puzzled. From the very beginning, this restaurant seemed to have a slight shock. They don't know what happened, but obviously, this night is not peaceful. The plan to continue the blood of the Senju clan was captured by Yichu. But this kind of thing by blood, I'm afraid it won't be successful once or twice. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 192 is your father. Take back the chakra from you. Master Tsunade. I was killed by you. It's 3 poles in the sun. There was chaos in a suite of Konoha restaurant. Glancing at the torn gambling cloak, Shizune sighed. Today she learned a word. The fire at the gate of the city caused the pond fish. This truth is not just to talk about it. That bastard didn't even let her go. Anyway, the strategy is considered a success, although the cost is a bit high. Tsunade, who climbed to the table and ate the food, said vaguely. The price is really high, and it was the kind of extremely exaggerated hit. Bastard, it's cheaper for him. After a sip of wine, Tsunade squinted his eyes and touched his stomach. In order to extend the blood of the Senju clan as early as possible, she worked hard this time. All kinds of supplements are basically used, then wait for the news. It's only a pity. Later, she could not really beat the opponent, so she could only ask Shizune for support. So at this moment Shizune is maintaining an inverted state. Humph. Anyway, just this time. To be generous and generous to become Mrs. 5th Hokage, she did it shamelessly. Eat young grass, the old cows eating tender grass and so on mentioned before, after all, achieved an accomplishment. Certainly, she didn't know that Kaguya was a character from 1,000 years ago. Otherwise, I'm afraid I will only marvel that I am too late to start. Real veterans have to look at senior Kaguya to eat tender grass. Go. Check your body. After devouring to replenish physical strength, the seal of Baihao finally stabilized. Tsunade hugged Shizune and left Konoha restaurant. Konoha's mysterious scientific research department. Under the surveillance of Anbu ninjas shifts, an extremely dangerous figure lives inside. Orochimaru, now his life is fairly comfortable. At least there will be no shortage of materials for any experiment you want to do. There are many people in the ninja world who are firmly opposed to Konoha's unified plan, and those people will eventually become fresh human experiment materials. However, today's scientific research project has just begun, and the scientific research department has forced a heavyweight. Yi Bajian, Konoha's 5th Hokage. He walked in with a mysterious vessel, meaning that Orochimaru was asked to investigate whether the liquid in the vessel was healthy. At 04 a full morning, Orochimaru finally came out of the laboratory. Bajian-kun. Taking the experiment report and walking to Bajian, Orochimaru bowed respectfully. How about it? The curious man glanced at the report and asked. In terms of the quality of a single round, this is the strongest tadpole I have seen below. Well-deserved god-level gene. After swallowing, Orochimaru looked at Bajian with shocked eyes. This guy. What is the reincarnation? You are healthy, or you are too strong. It's difficult to say the evaluation. Orochimaru even wanted to experiment with this thing, but unfortunately, he knew. This is impossible. Oh, no problem. Standing up, Bajian wants to turn around and leave. But, Bajian-kun. Being attributed to a powerful tadpole means that the chance of success will also be lower. Your wife needs to exercise more, otherwise you won't be able to hold back your strength. Orochimaru put on his new eyes and said respectfully. But what is certain is that there are not 1,000 times, even the physique of the Senju clan is a bit expensive. Strength. So, you don't have to worry about the number of times Tsunade borrows something. Even if it's her, it won't work. Please squander your unlimited life, I will keep this matter secret. Go on the road. Smiling slightly, Bajien patted Orochimaru on the shoulder. Do it hard, ant snake. Small, is it enough to sweep the floor? After leaving the scientific research department, Bajien came to the central square. The ground today is especially tidy. It seems that Uchiha Madara has discovered the charm of Konoha in every bit of life. Fine. Supporting the sunglasses, killing the madman showed a relieved attitude. It's been a month. He who owns Rinnegan knows that the smiles on the faces of these villagers are not fake. The atmosphere in the village also calmed down Madara's heart. In that case, report to Anbu. There is a Shinobu village who disagrees with Konoha's reforms, refuses to obey Konoha's orders, and yells that Konoha. It's nothing. So, clean up. Patting Madara on the shoulder, Bajien turned and left. Can you move a little bit? Madara took off her glasses, and the pair of Rinnegan exuded a breathtaking light. The transformation of the ninja world is naturally not so easy. The special forces formed by the military and ground in Anbu, and the new ninja alliance formed by the elite troops dispatched by other ninja villages. Under the carpet-style horizontal push, many rebels came forward. Friendly negotiation is not easy. He even threatened to take a step forward and destroy Konoha. Good guys. At first Bajien almost laughed when he heard the news. But after hearing Kakashi's report, he was aroused. A recent rebel is somewhat difficult to deal with. The reason is simple. Those ninjas can fly claiming to be empty. Naruto World theatrical version of the Bolt chapter has been introduced in detail. It is a magical shinobu village that uses high technology. It seems that Konoha is very insignificant. Bajien doesn't quite understand. But since it is flying, Madara's complete body Susanoo also came in handy. As for him, he recently planned to teach the 12 Shaoqiang to promote the growth rate of the younger generation. I didn't bother to leave Konoha so far to deal with the problem. He can't figure out why Madara has lost to zero-tailed nothingness. After a little explanation, Bajien came to Konoha's Hokage rock. It seems that after becoming the 5th Hokage, he likes to stand here and look at Konoha when he is fine. I also understood a little bit why Senju Hashirama chose to fight for peace with tenderness. Perhaps, he was afraid of the spread of war, so let the people in this village die. Reaching out, a scroll fell into Bajien's palm. This scroll was found in the palace in Kaguya's ice space. It records the Ōtsutsuki people who will come to the earth in the future. Ōtsutsuki Peach style, Ōtsutsuki Gold style and Ōtsutsuki Ura style. These three people, Bajien, are not worried because in the future plots, whether it is Peach, Gold or Pooh style will be killed. It needs to be taken seriously. In the shell tissue in the follow-up plot, Ōtsutsuki 1 style instrument Jishen and Kawaki. Can't you still not perceive his existence? The beautiful woman appeared in her arms, and Bajien asked with her slender waist. Ōtsutsuki 1 style. Thousands of years ago, the other people who came to the earth with Kei Yoruichi took control of the second 10 tails. But compared to Keigaya's complete body tree, Ōtsutsuki was hit hard by Keigaya's sneak attack. Sealed himself, and also sealed the growth of 10 tails. This has been stated in the biography of Bo Ren. After thousands of years, Ōtsutsuki-style 10 tails is still in its infancy. I can't perceive it. Kagaya had a little worry in his eyes. When attacking Ōtsutsuki, he wanted to control the earth alone. But Ōtsutsuki was very powerful, and survived the deadly attack and shrank his body. There is a special connection between the Ōtsutsuki clan. But Kagaya does not perceive the existence of one form at this moment. And Bajien had deliberately scattered Ryotsu to find it, but there was no result. If nothing else, they should wait for the opportunity in the space where 10 tails are hidden at this moment. It's the inner line to perceive the space where the opponent is. Bajien's strength needs to go even further. The stronger his strength, Kaguya's strength will follow to improve. Then it won't be a problem to find the other person's space. They dare not jump out of such a big noise in the ninja world, which shows that the Ōtsutsuki at the moment is still. It's recovering, so don't worry, and the Peach-style trio hasn't arrived, so now it's time to improve your strength, so don't worry about anything. Waving the knife endlessly, but before practicing, there is one thing that must be solved. Withdrawing his tears, Bajien jumped forward and flew forward. Although I didn't find much trace of Ōtsutsuki on the way to find the base of the shell organization. But found another magical place. The weakest connection point between the real world and the pure land. Bajien's sensitivity to the soul is terrifying, thanks to his own Shinigami Zaraki sword. 8 templates. Especially that day, Orochimaru lifted Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama's dirty soil and turned cows. He deliberately left a mark on the souls of the two. Flying fast, Bajien fell on a small island in the center of the sea. This is an island on the border between the country of water and the country of need, or it can be described as the ruins of the Uzumaki clan in the past. More vivid. The brand disappeared here. Looking around the calm surroundings, Bajin took a deep breath and faced the air in front of him. One round cut. The space becomes unstable. A crack slowly appeared in front. It was pitch black inside, but just for a moment, Bajin could perceive countless soul breaths among them. There are two breaths that are the most powerful. Ōtsutsuki Hamura and Ōtsutsuki Hagoromo. It can't be wrong. Stepping into a territory that is not life, Bajin looked around. A piece of gray. The wandering souls walk aimlessly. In front of him, two dead souls with incomplete bodies were sitting in the air looking at themselves. At this moment, their eyes were full of surprise and surprise. There seems to be some doubts as to why strangers will enter in the Pure Land. And this person carries the breath of their mother. They had just come to see why there were cracks in the Pure Land and fell into silence. This silence. After Bajin summoned Kagaya, he became jealous. I am looking for you for the sake of saving. The crack behind him has disappeared. Bajin took out a chair out of thin air and sat in front of them, while Kagaya gave them a cold look. And then quietly leaned against the man's chest. Is the purpose really us? Ōtsutsuki Hamura and Ōtsutsuki Hagoromo looked at each other. The space that was originally full of dead silence added a sense of solemnity. They used chakra to observe the development of the ninja world, and they still know a little about the situation in the ninja world at this moment. Not surprisingly, the man who convinced his mother was the Ashu who turned back from the dirty soil. Yi Bajin in Luo's reincarnation memory. After appearing, he discovered the new world. Ashura reincarnated and saw a lot of things. After his soul was examined, he thoroughly noticed Yi Bajin. The man who knows everything. Mother, looked at the supple Ōtsutsuki Kagaya. Sage of six paths called Mother Heart. He could not understand what Yi Bajin did. Eyes, the genin world is indeed peaceful, but why did he release his mother again? Sooner or later, infinite Tsukuyomi will come to the world, and the ninja world will be a disaster. The above is his cognition. Shish. Sitting on the chair, Bajin stretched out his hand to his mouth, and gave a light hush to represent his attitude. You should stop calling this mother. Even with Kagaya, he didn't respond too much to Sage of Six Paths, but still indifferently glanced at her two unfilial sons. It seems that the concept is different. Bajin has always felt that filial piety is greater than righteousness. Besides, these two unfilial sons didn't give Kagaya any chance to explain, so they started the battle. Is this worthy of being called a human? Yi Bajin, I know you. Ōtsutsuki Hagoromo looks solemn. You have changed the people of the ninja world, but you shouldn't let your mother go. You don't know what kind of disaster this will lead to. Please shut up. With a snap of his fingers, Zanpakuto thrust into the ground. Under the absolute control of the land of the cry, these two souls cannot resist Yi Bajin's Zanpakuto. Essentially you have chakra, why do you say such a thing? The Ninzong philosophy you created is to make people trust and understand each other. 587. But about this, did you do it yourself? Looking at Ōtsutsuki Hagoromo lightly, Bajin narrowed his eyes and pointed at Kagaya. Do you understand her? Do you know the ultimate purpose of making white Zetsu? Have you ever tried to understand and talk with the mother who created yourself? Probably not. Bajin sighed faintly. The ninja world you know is nothing but a place that others regard as a nursery. But this stupid woman finally chose to stand on the side of the earth to make weapons against the invaders. The method is awkward, but it's considered hard work. Unfortunately, I did a bad thing with kindness, and indiscriminately listened to toad pills and thought you were. Our mother has become greedy, and, what about being strong, what about greed? The ultimate goal is still to protect the ninja world. I would rather trust others than my own mother. What kind of person is this kind of person? You are so sure that after trying to understand Kagaya, she won't discuss the deal with you. The strategy behind the enemy. With the knife pointed at Ōtsutsuki Hamura and Ōtsutsuki Hagoromo, Bajin's face looked frosty. Cut. People in this world are all old double standards. Forget it, it's important to do business. Now, as your father, I take back chakra from you. The blade shone with light, and instantly entangled two dead souls with no resistance. Now is to deal with the soul. And its own chakra is a higher level power that has been fused with Ryotsu, spiritual energy, and celestial arts. Bajin didn't pay attention to them from beginning to end. There is only one reason for coming to the Pure Land this time. After eradicating the day, Sage of Six Paths took the opportunity to find the spiritual space of Naruto and Sasuke, and then induced them. The possibility of sealing Kagaya. Erase the last factor that creates turmoil. This is his purpose. Chakra retracted. Two different patterns appeared on Bajin's hands. One moon and one sun, and the light blue Tensigen became more intense. Although I missed an apology to Kagaya, but let you become the dead souls of slavery in my knife. This ending is fair to you. Zanpakuto gave a light wave, and the space in front of him cracked again. Come gently, walk gently, did not alarm the other dead souls in the Pure Land. As if never before. Konoha training ground. Sasuke and Naruto, who were in the battle, were stunned at the same time. Did you feel it? Naruto asked eagerly. Well, it was a lot easier in an instant, and some kind of power is growing. Sasuke clenched a fist, puzzled on his face. Sasuke, Itachi wants you to come over. At this moment, Uchiha Shisui in the distance beckoned to Sasuke. After a few minutes, in the familiar training ground, two men stood together. Itachi and Sasuke. Mangekyo slowly formed. Itachi pinched Sasuke's neck. My stupid brother. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 193. Thank you for staying in front of me. 3 days later, Konoha Research Department. Bajian calmly waited outside. Itachi and Sasuke have been pushed into the operating room. You don't need to worry too much about the eye change surgery performed by Tsunade and Orochimaru. Just wait for the result. However, it is worth mentioning that because of age, the process of Sasuke's evolution from Sangoyu to Mangekyo was extremely difficult. Fortunately, at the last moment, Bajian simply stimulated with Indra Chakra. Shinayu's Mangekyo has the same abilities as in the original. Flame control and Amaterasu. One is to release black flames, and the other is to control the flame shape. Zeba Mangekyo has this kind of ability is not bad. As for Madara's straight bus Mangekyo ability, Bajian asked once before. It is similar to the passive ability of boosting ninjutsu and boosting agility. No matter his fire style is called forbidden technique, there is a reason. Change your eyes and add the pink eye transplant potion exchanged from the system mall. Bajian is very sure. Believe that when they get off the operating table, Konoha village will have 2 more eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Bajian knows this too. The use of Susanoo takes time to settle. Sasuke is still young, so there is no need to pull the seedlings to help. Indra Chakra has been guided by Bajian and slowly merges with his body. To be sure, even if Sasuke and Naruto die in the future, Indra Chakra and Ashura Carrot won't be turning around either, because the people who control these 2 chakras have completely disappeared. Indra and Ashura will also come to the end, completely absorbed by Naruto Sasuke, and become him forever. Our strength. As for how far it can grow, Bajian didn't take it seriously, just let it go with the flow. All in all, they gained the power that is easier to master than in the original book. Their achievements in the future are not too low. As for Itachi's eternal Mangekyo, Bajian is still looking forward to it. In the original book, he left his eyes to Sasuke. I couldn't see the crimson full-body Susanoo either. How strong is his strength? Bajian is not clear. Ding. The logo during the operation was changed to the word, completed, accompanied by a melodious beep. The 2 hospital beds were pushed out by the medical ninja. It can be seen that even though they are blindfolded, the 2 of them are still very stable. Successful. Orochimaru nodded to Bajian with faint envy. The operation went smoothly. After all, the 2 are blood relatives, and there will be no rejection of the transplanted eyes. He is envious of these 2 men having such powerful eyes. The known end of Sharingan. Having such eyes at such a young age, this terrifying pupil power. Thanks for your hard work. Nodding to Orochimaru, Bajian was just about to say something. But it was a little uncomfortable to be seen by Tsunade's burning gaze next to him. What about me? I don't work hard. Squinting his eyes, Tsunade leaned forward to Bajian and uttered 3 words. Borrow? Understand? Come. This guy is really getting bolder and bolder. Before, I blushed and asked if I had time, said he would treat me to a meal, and expressed a tactful expression. Lower inner thoughts, but now the short 3 words have basically summarized everything. Shrugging his shoulders, Bajian said he was not afraid of it. I have forgotten my original intention through Tsunade. Anyway, she and Bajian live in the same yard, and there is no shortage of things like going to the battlefield with master and apprentice. So, just get used to it. Rest well. After speaking to Itachi and Sasuke, Bajian pulled Tsunade and turned away. Borrow? Understand? Come. This time makes you desperate one after another? The days of relative calm began. The classified ninja world is slowly moving, driven by several big ninja villages, and news of good news is frequently passed to the Naruto office. In the office, Bajian will show up in the office on time every day, take a look and leave. The rest is left to the assistant he personally appointed, that is, Minato. Work is not too heavy. But the cultivation is still in progress. The evil spirit Zaraki Kenpachi, instinctively thinking about White, the great sword hero Hawkeye Mahawk. The 3 major templates are steadily improving every day. For Bajian, every day he goes to the training ground to swing his sword and sweat wantonly, and he returns to his own at night. At home, think about which maid's room to enter, or go to discuss with Anko how the Mitarashi clan will revive. Shing, or enter the account of Anko's best friend Kurenai Yuhi to conspire together. Still take a private bath with Maue Shion, or check the development of Hinata or Ino. This is the trouble in the ordinary. He likes this kind of life, unpretentious, but not boring. But for Konoha's new generation, it is relatively difficult to spend the day. At this moment, Konoha gathered all the outstanding juniors in the ninja world. For example, the Black Soil of Iwagakure, the Sand Shinobi of the Land of Wind, the 3 Giants of the Land of Wind, whether it is spiritual or All his body surrendered to Bajian. Sammy, who was originally the apprentice of Eight Tails Jinchuriki, was the head of Kirigakure. The talent coefficients of Jiro and others are listed. As for the more special ones, they are Kagaya Kimimaro and other ninjas from Itonin village. Orochimaru had already surrendered and lost his goal. Kimimaro approached Bajian and talked about it once and finally decided to stay in Konoha. In the Konoha special training camp, they do not distinguish each other and do not have to think about the value and meaning of existence. We have only one goal. Just to complete the special training by Bajian, the first person in the ninja world. This is an honor for them. Advanced training for Chunin exam. Although I don't know where this power will be used after the ninja world becomes an iron plate. But the 5th Hokage Bajian said that in a while, he will expand the Night Owl team and Anbu. At that time the first strongest ninja contest will also begin. In order to get a good ranking, give an explanation to the Shinobu village who used to be. They are willing to work hard and on a certain night. Hyuga Neji, who worked so hard during the day, came to the door of 5th Hokage Bajian and knelt heavily. On the ground, he knocked his head 3 times and then turned and left. The reform of the Hyuga clan has been completed. Hyuga Hiyashi admired Neji's desperate scene when there was chaos in the exam room during Chunin's exam. He also understood that the time that Master Naruto said had come to directly announce the abolition of the caged bird system. On that day, the Hyuga clan was brightly lit, and countless branch house ninjas gathered outside Hyuga Hiyashi's house to express their excitement and crazy thanks. Hyuga Hiyashi himself was a little shocked by the occurrence of this situation. I vaguely remembered the words of Master Naruto. You can try. After the restrictions are lifted, they will work harder to protect the clan, instead of thinking of rebellion. Thanksgiving is always easier to control than restriction. He believed in this, and Bajian also fulfilled his promise to Hyuga Neji and became Hyuga Neji's greatest benefactor. The figure looking up for a lifetime. The progress of the unification of the ninja world is not slow. Especially when Uchiha Madara joined Anbu, the speed was exaggerated to a certain extent. After the powerful combat power shown by Chiba Madara, the ninjas of Anbu knew that they. What kind of people did the Hokage-sama defeated? Maybe because of Rinnegan, or something else. Uchiha Madara's complete body Suzunohe is much larger than Uchiha Itachi's complete body. Even with a single knife, you can chop a lot of mountains. Strong too much. Under this kind of combat power, the Konoha coalition forces pushing the ninja world have already begun to gather the resistance forces. In just 3 months, the rebels have completely declared their surrender. This is necessary. Konoha at this moment represents the peak combat power. A good news comes to Konoha to match it. There are more and more names on the glory and meritorious wall in the central square of Konoha village. There are heroic sacrifices. There are also heroic killers. But no matter what kind, it is destined to be remembered by the people of Konoha village. Finally, the number of good news gradually decreased. But this is not a bad thing. This represents a signal. Signal of the complete unification of the ninja world. The final moment has arrived. What Bajian said during the Chunin exam became a fact. Lead Konoha to completely put down the war. He made it. Really did it. Konoha at this moment has entered the true pinnacle. The first ninja village. No, from this moment on, there is only one name in the ninja world. Konoha. Divisional Management, Multi-Party Administration Department, and National Boundary Line changed to Divisional Boundary. The country of water is renamed as the capital of the sea and vigorously develops tourism, and the establishment of piers enriches the sea. Materials have been fully utilized with the concerted efforts of the Nightingale team. The mountains of Thunder Country have become a new land, which is organizing the nation. Go all out to grow food. The land of the earth and the land of the wind, under the leadership of Yamato, are embarking on the afforestation plan. It is foreseeable that a more prosperous life awaits them in the future. When the policy was implemented, countless people bowed deeply to Konoha in the center of the mainland. After the reunification, the imaginary tyranny and heavy taxes did not appear. The expanded Konoha Anbu ninja merely monitors and inspects the results of their labor, and does not deliberately embarrass them. And a better life than before, let them completely surrender to the rule of Konoha, surrender to Bajian. Wise. This is true peace. Jiraiya, who has traveled through the world of ninja, has resigned from the Night Owl team, and will have all the things in the world of ninja. The changes are recorded in his new book. People like him are destined to dislike fighting. But the name of this book is called The Legendary Life of That Man. Telling Bajian's life history, telling the legendary story. Jiraiya has decided to publish this book in its entirety. Not for money, just to let people know more about the legends in Konoha village. Or he swore that he would use his remaining life to travel every corner of the ninja world and tell people with his pen how difficult life is at the moment, and where there are still unstable factors, it will be transmitted in the way of summoning beasts. Back to Konoha, let Hokage choose how to deal with it. As for the names of those countries, the useful ones are kept, and the useless ones are abolished as nobles. Only by being positive can we have a better life, and it is only reserved for those who have goals in their hearts. It just depends on whether you are willing to use Yu-Niu to approach your goal. This is a replica of the Will of Fire, in addition to guarding a deeper meaning. It will be Naruto's Shindo in the future. Speak straight, say what you say. I do not know how to say, on the Naruto rock. Uchiha Shisui smiled and looked down, while Uchiha, a gentleman next to him, raised his head and stared at the sky. What? Itachi lowered his head and looked at Shisui. I don't know how to describe the love for Konoha. Probably even if I want to keep my blood and soul in a corner, then silently. To guard this village. Shisui gave a silly smile. He was changed by Bajin and finally saw everything he wanted to see. He was very lucky. I took the wine gourd thrown by the man and took a sip. If I had sneered at this man's thoughts, where would I be now? Meet that man. Become a best friend. Although it didn't achieve true heart-to-heart communication like Itachi, he became the shadow of Bajin. But Shisui was already satisfied. For leaving his mark in that man's life, the word, friend, is well deserved. Suddenly remembered the Night Owl team at the beginning. At that time, there were only Uchiha Itachi, Hitaki Kakashi and Yi Bajin. He was ordered to snatch Bajin's knife. After thinking about it, Shisui suddenly smiled. After all, Master Danzo went the wrong way, but maybe the original intention is the same as Bajin, right? But those are okay with Bajin, also mutual support, and Itachi, Kakashi will remember the days when he went to the country of need. Sustain, rely on each other, and leave the back to someone you trust. This is a ninja, you are still so sentimental. I don't know what Jansong is doing now. Yan Yan, who looked at Bajin on the wall, smiled. Itachi took his shoulders and walked forward 2 steps looking at Konoha. Some express hotel. Tsunade, who was already poor and couldn't afford to open a suite, stood up strenuously. That bastard has gone. Fail again, is it because I'm old? What should I do with the blood of the Senju clan? Tsunade sighed. The revolution has not yet succeeded, and she is afraid she has to work hard. Well, anyway, I'm used to it. Bajin sneezed when he walked out of the hotel. I don't know what's going on recently, I always feel that someone is talking about myself. Husband Kun-sama, actually the concubine feels. If you want to keep offspring, the concubine and you is the best match. Why waste seeds? Kagaya of spiritual space whispered. You don't understand, this kind of challenge is like shooting in a football match, the more difficult it is. It's a joy to score a goal with a degree, Bajin said quite literally. The principle is the same. Anyway, Orochimaru said that he is not sick, but the probability is slightly lower. But as long as the frequency is frequent, this thing is not a problem. And I'm still young, and I don't have the desire to take care of children. Finally, Bajin jumped to the commanding heights of Konoha village. My world, do you understand now? He took a mouthful of erguodo refreshingly, Bajin said to Kagaya. Well, my concubine knows that the previous approach was a bit stupid. Sniffing in Bajin's arms, Kagaya said with emotion, it's more than stupid. The Ōtsutsuki clan uses the fruit of planting the sacred tree to refine the pill and eat it to maintain immortality and gain strength. Relatively speaking, their strength with Rinnegan can be blocked by infinite Tsukuyomi's white Zetsu. Got it? Helplessly touched the horns of Kaguya's head, Bajin said. Can white Zetsu fight the Ōtsutsuki trio to protect the earth? Bajin laughed. What kind of brain circuit is this girl? But counting the time, it's almost the same. Looking into the distance, the planned area that was about to be completed, Bajin smiled. Konoha promoted to Ninja Core Heart Shadow, and his Konoha's Hokage is naturally going further. Since becoming the leader of the whole world is about to be crowned king, his treatment should also be improved in all aspects. But to be honest, he really didn't propose to build a luxurious mansion. But after seeing the changes in the ninja world, what ordinary people want to do for Bajin, spontaneously. Please order the construction of the organization. Create a small if feels good to be trusted, probably this mansion resembling a palace is the biggest reward he has received in so long. 24 Fly. The ninja world is completely unified. Everything is developing in a good direction. And just as the peaceful days continue, a piece of news spread from Konoha to ninja world. 5th Hokage Yi Bajin, the leader of the ninja world, deservingly the strongest person, will be married in a month. At that time, all representatives of Shinobu village will be invited to Konoha to witness the ceremony. For the peaceful ninja world, this news is full of explosions. In this world, no one does not give Yi Bajin this moment of face. Of course, they are also very happy with people look forward to. Only the people who left for Konoha had some doubts. The object of doubt is the other person in the wedding. Everyone knows that the strongest person in the ninja world is very romantic, and the maids are 2 by 2. Then there must be a lot of confidence. But now the news of the big wedding comes. Who is the one who occupies Yi Bajin's heart most when he falls on the ground? They want to know this problem, so in this wedding, besides witnessing the epic moment, I also want to see which girls are like this lucky. That's the first person in the ninja world. Becoming his partner, you will be very happy, right? Message delivery. Almost at the same time, the leaders of the big ninja villages and the small ninja villages went to Konoha together. This is a unified country, but it retains the tradition of ninja village to the greatest extent. Bajin is not like letting the whole. Everyone in the ninja world brought Konoha forehead protector. To a large extent, those people don't deserve to wear Konoha forehead protector. If you want to get into Konoha, you have to go through layers. Layer screening. The system of Shinobu village is retained, but Konoha controls the final decision-making and village management. This is enough. And when those people see better and better life, they will naturally not continue to resist. The wedding has not yet begun, but Konoha's atmosphere has risen to its apex. The feasting village makes people feel nostalgic. The smiles of blessings on people's faces show respect to the completed palace in the distance and a certain corner. Two fat and bloated figures stayed on the roof. I said, "This uncle's half-length. If the boss gets married, shouldn't you give me something?" Holding the wine gourd, Yin Kurama asked Yang Kurama. "Sure, I just don't know what to give," my uncle said before that I put the picture in Wei's head. When the NV background music, unfortunately, he was scolded by Wooden Golem. The second from Wooden Golem is the second-tailed Jinchuriki. As for what Wei saw, he knew it well. It was like a scream from Wooden Golem that day. Nine Tails has seen the same in Kushina and Mito. It's a pity that Wei is a female cat. She just went back to sleep after looking at it for a while. It is not interested in human hobbies and dare not look at it. The maid's tail beast must have the same enlightenment as the maid. As for letting Lee Lama put that stuff, isn't that looking for death? Jay, what should I do? Yin Kurama scratched his head and asked. Gone. This uncle has it, bright. Yang Nine Tails caught the moonlight and rushed out of Konoha village with her own body. Tenten passed. Konoha's guests are also increasing. Finally, when that day came and was in the second dimension, Bajian didn't pay much attention to it. Wearing a black robe and finally came to the door of the palace. But what surprised the guests was that what he was holding in his hand was just a woman who didn't seem to stand out. Maoyue Xian. When she was waiting for him in the cold winter in her wedding gown, Bajian knew that she owed her a ceremony. There is no need for too much weight-reducing rituals. In fact, the news of the wedding is that Luju and Minato feel that to maintain the Bajian card, it is necessary to count other things. Ninja Village participated, and it was revealed. In essence, Bajian is not the kind of person who likes being too busy. But now that it's done, the colorful carpets must be finished from the newly built palace to the Sakura flower forest in the Uchiha clan. Bajian likes Sakura flowers. Being there as the final meeting place is also the scene when Naruto got married in the original book. Take Shi Yan's hand and walk out of the palace. But things are obviously not as simple as those guests imagined. Tenten, Ino, Hinata and little Sakura walked out slowly behind them, pulling their hands. The face of Yu Xian's long wedding dress was full of envy. They looked pure and beautiful after being carefully dressed, but it is certain that she has moved to the palace. We all belong to one person sooner or later. The first person in the ninja world is so romantic, everyone knows this, and everyone understands it. But after the four girls came out, several figures appeared again behind them. At this time, Bin was obviously stunned. Especially after discovering that those women in the back are also wearing wedding gowns, they're even more confused. Ninja world. Seping has never had such a wedding. This is an upright romantic, sure enough, a strong person never lacks a confidant. Kurenai Yuhi is very generous, even talking and laughing with Anko next to him. Didn't think anything was wrong. Anko did mix and the two maids behind her turned red. Conan and the two by Wooden Golem didn't expect this day at all. Fortunately, by Wooden Golem, Conan was sluggish. Is she married? Married to the devil in your heart? Why is there still some joy in my heart? She didn't understand at first, but after the man put on her wedding dress himself, she understood. Fell. It is as expected. The person who brought peace to the world has changed from hatred to indifference, and from indifference to attraction to the present. She let go of everything, only love is left. These three are pretty calm. It's just that the person who came out at the end obviously felt a little bit of self-confidence. Tsunade was pulled by Terumi Mei and walked out embarrassedly. When Tsunade, who had been put on a wedding dress by Bajian, appeared in the team, Orochimaru Jiraiya, who was watching the ceremony in the distance, was stunned for a short time, but then turned to Blessings and said to Tsunade far away. Looking at Jiraiya, Orochimaru shook his head and said nothing. He probably guessed the ending when he took Yi Bajian to Tsunade, right? Not important anymore. Wu forward. Promised, when I walked to the side of Minato. Bajian stopped. This man changed Yi Bajian's original life trajectory. Definitely the opposite, destroying it with Orochimaru is what Bajian wants to do. He is standing there now, but the identity is very special. Last night, Bajian found Minato, only said a word to him. Can you come to my wedding? As my father, Minato had red eyes. But now, it is full of gratification and touch, always. I didn't say a word to you. Standing in front of Minato, Bajian grinned, but Uzu Shion next to him took a look at her arm in shock. There is clearly a touch of crystal on it. Thank you, at Anbu base. Stand in front of me. He bowed deeply to Minato. When he raised his head again, his face had become indifferent. Why talk too much among men? Nodded to Bajian. Minato gave his sunny smile. Blast down, blow down. Blow down. At this moment, the earth trembled. People looked to the sky in horror. I saw a tail beast flying into the air with a knife. Two tails are naturally absent in Yu Wooden Golem. However, the two power tails plan to make up for the opportunity of the 9-star connection. The tailed beast bomb burst. It's like fireworks that are extremely awesome. Indeed, there is nothing more shocking than the fireworks under the tail beast. Damn, this is art. Deidara in the distance slapped Kisame next to him fiercely. Why are you hitting me? Kisame kicked Deidara's ass. Seriously, getting married. It was Naruto and Sasuke who were next to each other with warnings on both sides. It's okay to go crazy, but not for scoring occasions. Boss. Boss. Whizzing, two fat figures rushed over. Eventually rammed into Bajian's arms. The two Kuramas are still so cute, he likes this gift very much. The knife finally chopped off Shinobu. This is my ninja world, smiling and looking at the sky. Bajian said softly, where the leaves fly, the fire is endless. The fire will continue to illuminate the village and let the leaves of the new cows sprout. This monolithic ninja world, the invincible Konoha. I'm waiting for you, Ōtsutsuki, Sakura Flower Forest. The petals are fragrant and flying. People toast to celebrate Swig. The legend continues, and this man will eventually be crowned king. His story just began. The Hokage volume comes to an end. Peace. I have a lot of emotions. Alas, don't talk nonsense and take up the number of words. Next will be a special article. What readers want to see. The words are good. After the return of the special chapter, it is a new chapter in the ninja world, such as conquering other worlds and fusing with Naruto. Same as Bajian. All the time. Thank you, Army. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 194 Kill Konoha and change its name to Kenpachi. Peace. It is recommended to take a look at Chapter 45 and Chapter 46. This is a special Episode 1, Become a Betrayal, Chop Down Konoha. Readers, please take a look at the works related. How's it going? At this moment, the entrance of Anbu Base. The ninjas who arrived after hearing the news have surrounded it. There is only one way out, you must go through if you want to leave. The situation inside is unknown, waiting here is a good decision. Namikaze Minato lifted up the ninja who was stepped on the ground by Bajian in the first place, and asked worriedly on his face. I don't know, he just asked me where Mitarashi Anko is. Anbu ninja said with some shame. As Anbu, Hokage-sama's direct department was defeated by a child. He glanced at the wound on his hand, and he still had some lingering fears until now. Is it true? Minato gave a wry smile and sighed. I even want to let it go, and in the end I have to ask the ninja in my village where the other party is hiding. Unconventional means if you use two words to describe it, it is outrageous. He knows Yi Bajian, that boy. Mentioned each other in front of Master Third Generation more than once. Even before, Sarutobi Asuma took a cigarette and choked on Anko, he dared to stand up and kick him out of the meatball shop. So if someone took his sister, how could he tolerate such behavior? Looking around, the entire entrance has been blocked. The third generation stared at the passage intently, and Anbu's ninja had already drawn out the unprepared fight. Is it necessary for this matter to be such a big deal? Compared with Orochimaru, Bajian, who wanted to save her sister but didn't want her sister to suffer, suddenly became like a sinner. Is this really appropriate, Master Third Generation? Standing up and returning to Sarutobi, Minato's face was tangled and sad. Wait for him to come out. Sarutobi shook his head and didn't want to say anything. The departure of Orochimaru and Jiraiya has already made him a little upset. The anxious wait began. The ninjas of Anbu didn't dare to show up, and the two Hokage remained silent. I don't know how long it took. The two figures leaned on each other and walked out of the passage. At this moment, everyone's eyes swept toward them. Ticking. On Zanpakuto, a drop of blood slowly flowed to the ground. When it reached the bloodline, Namikaze Minato sighed and sighed 533. Sure enough, is it still too late? When Anko saw this kind of formation, she was shocked. She instinctively wanted to hide behind Bajian, but she gritted her teeth to protect her brother. Master Naruto. Not afraid. Shaking his head, strong arms embraced her again, and the boy thrust Zanpakuto into the ground with mockery on his face. He wanted to see how Konoha's bastards would deal with him. What's your sin? Killing your companions. Yi Bajian, release the prisoner in private. However, the person who spoke made Bajian stunned for a moment. Pushing away from the crowd, Danzo, who was in the same breath with Orochimaru, is late for the first time. And his face was filled with unpretentious anger, and Ziping was extremely angry at Bajian's behavior. You're saying it again. Who is the prisoner? The terrifying murderous aura spreads instantly. All the wildness of Zaraki Kenpachi fell on this little boy. Everyone present was shocked. Why does this little boy possess such a terrifying murderous aura? They have no doubt that if Shimura Danzo treats Mitarashi Anko as a prisoner, the boy will do it directly. Ignore the consequences and shoot at any cost. Grab Konoha's forehead protector with one hand. The green veins of the palm that are not too big are exposed. Minato had one shoulder, and he seemed to understand what the other party was going to do. Bajin just about to say something. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen next to him was the first to speak. Yi Bajin, put down the knife. Looking around, and glanced at the blood on the Bajin knife, Sarutobi Hiruzen let out a long sigh. You have made a big mistake, don't make mistakes again and again. Make a mistake? Bajin smiled, I don't think I was wrong. The ninja was desperately performing missions outside, but in the end the person he wanted to protect was arrested by his own village. Why? Neither overbearing nor overbearing, even calm and unreasonable. The other party's behavior is not like a 5 or 6-year-old child at all. Third generation frowned and spoke again. The people of Anbu, the purpose of taking Anko away was just to cooperate with the investigation. Like you, Anko is a member of Konoha, and she has this obligation. Before the completion, she was Orochimaru's disciple, but now Orochimaru has defected after killing Anbu ninja. You should understand that it's okay to cooperate with the investigation. Service? Investigate the news of the big, AECA, snake pill? Bajin looked at the old guy in front of him calmly. Looking around, everyone who should be there is there. Bajin turned his head and looked at Anko. Sister, do you know about Orochimaru? I don't know, I have said everything I can say, and I can guarantee the truth. Anko stretched out his hand and said solemnly, you promise? What guarantee do you use? Neither Hokage spoke, but Danzo started to get into trouble. He naturally has his purpose. As early as when Orochimaru asked for the information of this boy, he was curious about Yi Bajin's cattle production. Now that Orochimaru is gone, the only thing he wants to do is to arrest the boy and study the unusualness of him. Finally, for his use, what a person who has not been tortured by illusionism can be used as a true confession. You fart? Bajin's face is grim. Confession? Prisoner? He was angered to the extreme. Who taught Orochimaru? Why don't you ask him to confess? When? Who was the disciple of Orochimaru who made Anko? Do you think she is rare? Snake Pill ran away. You don't go after Orochimaru and you're torturing her. Why don't you go to torture those ninjas who failed to round up Orochimaru? Maybe they did it deliberately. Let go of Orochimaru? I even suspect that Sarutobi Hiruzen, you deliberately let go of Orochimaru. One sentence. Silence. Who taught the snake pill? Slowly, everyone's eyes focused on an old man on the court. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. The atmosphere is a bit awkward. Sarutobi gave a wry smile, his old face flushed uncontrollably. Yes. In terms of closeness, he and Orochimaru might be closer. And this kid is too ugly, it's a bead heart. Deliberately let go of Orochimaru. He actually knew not deliberately, but just can't bear to start. Hokage-sama, the Anbu inside is only injured, there are no dead people. At this moment, an Anbu ninja approached Minato and reported the situation in a low voice. Is it just injured? There is a turnaround. His eyes lit up, and Minato suddenly took a step forward and wanted to talk. But, once again, Sarutobi and Danzo took a step ahead of his movement. Put down the weapon and accept the investigation, otherwise the old man will take coercive measures. Mandatory treatment. Minato froze for a moment, then stopped quickly. Lord Third Generation, he just wounded the people inside, and didn't kill anyone. The matter hasn't arrived yet. Which step? I can vouch for him. Reaching out, Sarutobi interrupted him. What kind of guarantee do you use? Hokage's existence is to protect everyone in the village. Obviously Yi Bajin has threatened the safety of the villagers, and his mindset continues to develop. I am afraid it is the second Orochimaru. The old man doesn't want to be making a mistake. You don't want to make a mistake, what does it have to do with Yi Bajin? Minato opened his mouth and wanted to refute the other party's words. Third Generation did make a mistake, he let go of Orochimaru. And this incident also came out from Yi Bajin's eventuality. Should you let go of Orochimaru this kind of wrong thing and use targeting Yi Bajin to make up? Lord Third Generation, was that how you used to be Hokage? Minato was completely stunned, he didn't expect Sarutobi to say such a thing. In short, Fourth Generation, Danzo took 2 steps forward slowly, this kind of dangerous element must be dealt with mainly, this matter is still. Leave it to us, although you are Hokage, you are still too young. You can't just use sunlight and warmth to deal with things in the village, sometimes you need darkness. This is the meaning and value of the roots of the old man. As expected of Konoha, the beam-jumping clown in front of him finally revealed his original face. Bajin, who was in the middle of Anbu Ninja and Root Ninja, suddenly laughed. The laugh was inexplicable but extremely cheerful. Perhaps, you shouldn't have any illusions about this village from the beginning. Yourself with these people, after all, it is not a path. Look around. With the indifference on the faces of the people around, Bajin has a panoramic view. I can tell. Namikaze Minato wants to save herself. But what can a puppet Hokage change? In the end, waiting for him is nothing more than sacrificing his duty for the village. Puppet partial to Hokage. This is also Orochimaru's evaluation of Namikaze Minato in the original work. Maybe he wants to change Konoha pity. Being young is both an advantage and a disadvantage. At this moment, both the Konoha elders and Shimura Danzo are on the side of Sarutobi Hiruzen. And that old thing will grab himself and send it to Danzo for processing. Sugar. After smirking, Yi Bajian's hand that had originally pulled the forehead protector slightly forced it to him. Konoha forehead protector. It seems that I have just brought this thing for a while. With the elusive smile on his face, Bajian slowly lifted his Zanpakuto and pointed it at Mew. The pattern on the leaf forehead protector. Boy, what are you going to do? Stop. Presumptuous, bold. There was a sound of fright and anger all around. But in the end no one can stop Yi Bajian's behavior. The sharp Zanpakuto crosses the forehead protector and the scratches on it look so thrilling. Betrayal. In front of everyone, he became Konoha's betrayal. What is this? Challenge Konoha's authority, asshole. Talking more is not helpful. Several Anbu ninjas have touched Yi Bajian from the flanks. They want this arrogant kid to pay the price of blood. Are you scared? Am I afraid? Maybe I was scolded by those people just now. I was a little scared indeed. But at this moment, his brother is blocking him from the wind and rain, making Anko's fear disappear. Some are decisive in the face of death. Following the example of Bajian, Anko also picked up the forehead protector, and Kumi brushed Konoha with another betrayal. I see. Nodding to Anko, Bajian grinned, muttered in his mouth. What was said, only Anko next to him could hear clearly. Yi Bajian is dead. The living one is named Yi Kenpachi. Silently glanced at the system panel. Only one Zaraki Kenpachi template has been unlocked for the time being. The progress is only a mere 7%. The Pinsho, the king of pinch, only activated a chakra blade. Provoked Konoha with this strength, it looks no different from death. But, touching a card in the system backpack lightly, the cruelty on Bajian's face grew thicker. Ding. Do you use the template progress soaring card, temporary? Template progress soaring card, temporary, one-time props, lasting 3 hours. The template progress has been increased by 20% in a short period of time, and the combat effectiveness has soared. Note. Forcibly increase the template progress and use the template strength. After the time limit, you will enter an extremely weak state due to your physical fitness. If you cannot withstand the impact, please ensure the safety after use. Source. Packed as a gift with novice Zanpakuto value, 5,000 flat cut points. 3 hours, enough. Increase the template progress by 20%, and he will have 27% of the combat effectiveness of Zaraki Kenpachi in his heyday. Area Konoha. Hokage. Have you tried the power from the Shinigami world, called an evil spirit? As for the side effects, what does it matter, just leave here. Give him time, Konoha will pay a heavy price. The pupils began to shrink, and the pinpointed eyes shot straight at Sarutobi Hiruzen. You never know who is standing in front of you. I don't understand what mistake I made. After crushing the card, Bajian's breath suddenly became unstable, and he screamed frantically at Sarutobi Hiruzen. From today, until the end of the day. The Anbu ninja who touched both sides of Bajian suddenly stabbed Kuwu. Kang. But when Bajian's body glowed with golden light, their arms broke instantly due to the force of the shock. Substantiated Ryotsu defense. Is the ability of Zaraki Kenpachi unlocked after the template progress is improved? It feels full of power. Not bad. Holding Anko in one hand, a huge golden skeleton suddenly appeared from the young evil spirit. Ryotsu skyrocketed hand up the knife and drop. The heads of the two Anbu ninjas rushed directly into the sky. Spike. Behead. The blood spilled on his face, reflecting the face like Shiro returning from hell. What power is this? Sarutobi Hiruzen, Shimura Danzo and 2 consultants hurried back. The ninjas of Anbu and the roots of the ninjas instinctively guarded the shadow. It is their duty to protect the top. Look at what you look like. Like an animal. For example, a dog. Boom, Ryotsu broke out again. The crazy evil spirit started his killing, wailing. Here we go. Peas. The special chapter begins. This is the chapter of cutting and turning Konoha. In the next chapter, it will be renamed Yi Kenpachi, taking another route. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 195 Konoha S-Class Rebels. Once again, the author's text is over, so I still want to write some other content to open aside, and write some content for self-entertainment, otherwise I can't get the previous manuscript fee, and I didn't write it on my behalf. Readers, please cancel the automatic subscription. If you are interested, you can read it. If you are not interested, you will not read it. There will be a notice when you open a new book. Thank you for your support. Is Konoha weak at this moment? Not weak. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the 5-attribute escape grandmaster, a well-deserved cage-level powerhouse. And Shimura Danzo, based on the analysis at this time, should be transplanted to Uchiha Letter's arm, but Sharingan is not a few, but the strength is not bad. Not to mention that there is Namikaze Minato, a real cage-level powerhouse. Rasengan made his own name in the First World War. The yellow glitter of the leaves, in addition to them, the various secret art families in the bloodline race are combined, and the fighting power is amazing. So, at the age of 6 and just graduated, I want to escape from their hands. This is not an easy task. Kenpachi knows this very well. However, 27% of Zaraki Kenpachi's strength burst out, and it's not difficult to leave Konoha smartly. It's just that if you fight for too long and let those weird secret art families hold you back, there will be some wind. Knife light flashed. Ryotsu, who was close to 1/3 of the evil spirit, instantly cut off the Anbu ninja who was in front of him. Blood splattered, killing intent spread. Saping didn't expect Kenpachi to violently, and both Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo were stunned. Minato gave a wry smile and shook his head. There's no room for maneuver now. Once started, the child in front of him has become Konoha's enemy. He waved to the Anbu ninja who had gathered behind him. He has no choice. Fire style, great fireball technique. Wind style, great breakthrough, life order issued. For a time, ninjutsu smashed Kenpachi from all directions. As if unable to bear to watch the scene where the child fell, Minato turned his head and stopped watching. Can be the next moment, the golden light rose to the sky. The huge skeleton once again extended from Kenpachi's body. Whether it was ninjutsu, or the shuriken thrown by those Anbu ninjas, they were all down in an instant. There is no excessive stay. Kenpachi grabbed Anko's hand and quickly retreated. Leave Konoha, as long as you live. He has a chance to let the village understand who they have offended. Younger brother, on the way. Anko snorted softly. She didn't expect things to become like this. Originally planned to happily wait for Kenpachi to return to celebrate his first completion of the task. Konoha's actions broke all beautiful illusions, not afraid. He smiled at Anko and squeezed his opponent's hand. The golden Ryotsu passed to her. This is the breath of the younger brother. He is protecting me. Anko's eyes were wet and he nodded slightly. I'll understand all this is because Anbu took her away. Feeling being flat is very good, but she didn't want her brother to carry these things at a young age. Life in the future is already predictable. Going east and west, they have to face Konoha's chasing soldiers. This may not seem worth it to outsiders, but her brother understands. Not a tall figure, but extremely strong. The temperament rather than bending is also the most attractive place. This is his brother, Bajian. Shaking his brother's hand hard, Anko wanted to say something. With me, don't worry. Also, I will be called Kenpachi in the future. Yi Bajian of Konoha is dead. It's the knight that is alive. Kenpachi gave Anko a reassuring look. Kenpachi paused and then grabbed Anko's hand. Jumped to the open space next to it. Blow down, a violent explosion hit. A ninja with the first fence appeared in front of Kenpachi. It's fast. It seems that the communications team has notified Konoha's guards. Squinting his eyes, Kenpachi's knife was aimed at the enemy in front of him. Kill. Blow down. The golden sword pressure extended from Zanpakuto and hit the ground fiercely. After taking a look behind him, Kenpachi let out a sneer when Danzo and Sarutobi were chasing them. The speed of these two people is not fast. If it is not for the limited duration of the burst card, he is confident to kill them. Pity. I don't know how to get through the period of weakness after 3 hours. Kenpachi needs to do it within 3 hours. It is possible to leave the country of fire, stay away from Konoha, and find a safe place. Too much entanglement will only make yourself passive. Whoosh. Ryotsu broke out the next moment. Kenpachi, who was pulling Anko, soared again, and Zanpakuto slashed left and right. Those who dared to stop him were all cut off. This is a bloody battle. Everything broke out so fast, so suddenly. Even when Kenpachi rushed out of Konoha village, the head of the ninja guarding the door slowly landed. The pursuit continues. Rushing out of Konoha does not mean safety. And just when he was about to take out the forest outside Konoha village, a figure in front of him stopped him. I'll just say it. The two old guys Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo can't keep up with me. You can't keep up. Superior. Letting go of Anko's hand, Kenpachi showed a sense of caution on his face. Konoha's golden glitter. Jiraiya was once thought to be the little sun, the son of prophecy. 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato. Perhaps the speed of Ryotsu's outbreak, others will not be able to keep up, but he will not. After the death of 2nd Hokage Senju Tobirama, he is recognized as the highest speed in the ninja world. Seeing that there are loopholes in the ninja world, Minato's mood is a bit complicated. Originally, he felt that he could have a quiet chat with each other and even have a further relationship. But at the moment, everything is impossible. The child in front of him has become a betrayal. At the moment, they are veritable enemies. After a long while, he sighed slightly. Minato pulled out special kunai to get serious. Don't worry about being behind. Defeat me and you can leave the country of fire. Is that so? Kenpachi nodded. Indeed it is. If he can escape in front of the yellow flash, no one Konoha can catch him. But there was a question that made Kenpachi amused, so he couldn't help but ask. To deal with me, a genin, Hokage actually took the shot himself. Your pursuit ability is so strong, why not put the opponent under Orochimaru's rebellion? As far as I know, you have this ability, right? It's not Hokage's Lord Hokage. This is the soul torture from Kenpachi. When Orochimaru was captured, he did not show up. To deal with genin defecting from a village, he personally dispatched. Interesting. His own card is even bigger than Sasuke, who is not a bull. How did he answer this question? Minato gave a wry smile. Probably he couldn't answer either. Hokage, who is not Hokage, is talking about him, and the child in front of him sees the problem more thoroughly than him. It's useless to say more. Grab the opponent and hand it over to the village for trial. If you stubbornly resist, killing him is an explanation to his dead companion. The battle started. The unique golden flash of Fey Need Gods formation, accompanied by Kuwu landing completely unfolded. Kenpachi never doubted Minato's battle IQ during the Nine Tails Chaos in the original book. This guy only briefly analyzed Obito's ability, and then took the opportunity to use the second paragraph of Flying God to give the opponent a Rasengan. This is a difficult enemy, but like Obito, he is not clear about his combat style and details. Even if the progress of owning Zaraki Kenpachi 20% template is Yellow Flash, there is no way to stop him. The board burst card lasted for a limited time. Kenpachi didn't continue to waste time, and slashed it at the special kunai that was inserted in front of him. Give Minato enough time to take advantage of these sufferings? Kenpachi is not that stupid. Blow down. When the knife went down, the sharp sword pressure directly destroyed a kunai, and Minato's face changed slightly. The first time he fought against himself, the other party knew the weakness of Fey Need God technique. That's right, Flying Thunder God is great though. But there is no way to compare with real teleportation. There are also restrictions on the location of the transfer. That is, it is necessary to fly and require magic skills to complete teleportation. As long as you grasp this, Flying Thunder God technique is not impossible to crack. A flash of fire appeared on the knife. The characteristics of Chakra's blade slowly opened. Knife is flying. Every once in a while Kenpachi will always chop a kunai. The child with a fire knife, the battle with Namikaze Minato officially begins. Minato was a little frightened by the way of fighting like this. Anko next to him is a little worried, but with her strength, this level of battle is impossible to get involved. Time passed bit by bit. Kenpachi's physical fitness gradually declined, and Minato's chakra also consumed more than half of the Flying Thunder God transfers. One staggered, the distance between people opened up. The power of evil spirits, the fighting blood in the body was about to move. The feeling of body tearing made Kenpachi feel the culmination of this body's ability to withstand power. Template power is template power, but it is him who bears this power. Zaraki Kenpachi Goblin Shinigami World. When he unlocked his liberation power, even his own body, Kabuto, would break if it couldn't be beaten. At this moment, Bajian felt this torture. Side effects? His power is one of the uses that he exercises in the process of constantly swinging the knife. The discomfort caused by this sudden enhancement is indeed a side effect. Taking a look at the duration of the outbreak, Kenpachi gritted his teeth. From use to now, it has been more than 2 hours. The time spent fighting the Golden Glitter was nearly an hour, and the other time was spent on the road. It must be done quickly. The Yellow Flash is really difficult. Such a high-intensity battle lasted so long, almost to the final blow. Squinting his eyes, Bajian held the knife in both hands. Kenpachi's swordsmanship is divided into one-handed swordsmanship and two-handed swordsmanship. Also bigger. Swish, the last 5 special kunai fell on the ground. Little Sun took a deep breath. He also has a trick. The most effective attack right now is only whizzing. The body is flying. The real Yellow Flash is here. This is the spiral flashing super round dance roar 3 style. Combining the Flying God technique with the Flash Bomb, casts the Flying Thunder God technique in battle, and uses the Flash Bomb to emit dazzling yellow electric light, which makes the opponent mistakenly think that it is a ninjutsu that obstructs the line of sight. To defeat the enemy. This is the origin of the name Yellow Flash. Golden light shines all around. Kenpachi, who was used by the Flying Need magic bag, only felt a glare of dazzling light. Rasengan. A low growl came. Minato took a ball with one hand and aimed at the center Kenpachi and pressed it down. Blow down. The shock hit. A burst of golden light overshadowed the trick of the strange name. When the materialized Ryatsu defense appeared again, Minato's eyes stinged instead. Ryatsu burst to maximize. Ryatsu's defensive skeletons shattered directly to Flying Thunder God kunai. But Rasengan still pressed Bajian's back hard. It hurts. The pain hits. Minato finally enters the target screen. It was the moment when the evil spirit roared and swung a knife at him. Golden sword pressure. The only attack method of the king of flat chop is flat chop. Huh. Blow down. Smoke and dust are everywhere. Minato panted heavily and landed on the stone next to him, panting heavily. He lowered his head and looked at his arm. There was a knife on it. But it is completely different from ordinary injuries. The pain, as if the soul was wounded, made Lil Sun almost unconscious. Rasengan was hit, but whether Chin Shao, he still doesn't know. But when the smoke cleared, Minato could only smile wryly. The child has disappeared. Even Anko, who was in the distance, was gone. Did you successfully escape in front of your own Yellow Flash? It was really unexpected. With worry in his eyes, holding his arm, Minato turned and left. He was already unable to pursue it. Jansong. It was the morning of the next day. Inside the Uchiha clan, Itachi suddenly sat up from the bed. Woke up. What surprised him was His father Uchiha Fugaku, sitting next to him, seemed to be waiting for himself. My father. Rubbing his aching neck, Itachi was a little confused. Where's Jonsong? Don't mention this name, Itachi. Fugaku shook his head. What happened? With a bad feeling in my heart, Itachi asked quickly. Now he killed hundreds of Konoha ninjas and wounded the S-rank rebel of 4th Hokage. While holding Itachi who wanted to get up, Fugaku said a little amused. Things turned out to be like this, but, the child left the last kindness on Itachi. The Uchiha clan is not involved. Fugaku breathed a sigh of relief. Konoha, S-class rebel? Itachi was completely stunned. Well, the special Article 1 know that adults don't like to read it. Please cancel automatic subscription. The young author doesn't want to lose his gun. If you are interested, just scan the catalog. If you are not interested, it's finished. It was over. Sichuan, thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 196 Two Rebels. Such people never belonged to Konoha. The Third Ninja War came to an end. Although there was no large-scale battle, small-scale friction still exists. This is a period of mutual investigation of intelligence and comparison of the inner secrets of the big forbearance villages. At this juncture, Konoha, known as the #1 ninja village, came out with two surprising news. One of the legendary Sannin who was undefeated against the demigods in the Second Ninja War. The Third Ninja War blocked the Sand Shinobi village on Kikyo Mountain. The man who was unable to invade and made great contributions is called Orochimaru of Langkun. Privately conduct human experiments in Konoha and persecute Konoha children. During the experiment, Konoha's third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen caught him. After a fierce battle, the legendary Sannin became Konoha's S-rank rebel. For no reason, this is shocking news. Because of someone's existence, Orochimaru's defection time was advanced by 1 year. But what makes the big ninja villages puzzled is that the so-called human experiment, each big ninja village has its own research privately. It is something that is not visible. Why should it explode and let Konoha's meritorious character become a traitor? They can't figure it out. Also makes people feel a little funny. From Sannin to rebellion, they really want to know Orochimaru's journey. But apart from Orochimaru's defection, there was something else that caused a wave of waves to be compared to the sky. The genius who just graduated from Konoha Shinobi School some time ago, and Yibajian, who is only a double star of Uchiha, also defected. Like Orochimaru, the Renin level is still S level. This judgment is very confusing. The reason is also very simple. Orochimaru's strength is obvious to all. In this regard, Sand Shinobi village is more authoritative. It can be said with certainty that without Orochimaru, Konoha's third ninja war against Kikyo Mountain would have been flattened long ago. So his defection was classified as an S-rank rebel, no problem. But that kid, he was just 6 years old when I heard, August 20th. Why can he become an S-rank rebel? When the complete information came back, they were finally relieved. After graduating from ninja school at the age of 6, Ninjaya is only a C-level mission, but after confirming the situation, the level of the mission has been upgraded from C level to A level. This is only a small part of intelligence, and has nothing to do with defecting. The cause and effect of the defect was that people went out to perform tasks, and Konoha actually attacked his family. At the level of Genin, after Anbu rescued his sister, he slammed out of Konoha. 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato personally failed to slalom, and was seriously injured. That's right. The yellow flash of the third ninja war galloping on the battlefield, he was injured. Even when he returned to Konoha village, his body trembled several times and almost fainted. Kenpachi's move to leave Konoha was not sneaky. Not like Sasuke leaving in the dark, but rushing out openly. You can't hide things like Anbu. The conflict at the entrance of Anbu was also seen. Therefore, the specific details of Kenpachi's defection also spread to the ears of various Shinobu villages. Shock and Yi Kenpachi is also a little fortunate while Kenpachi is strong. Fortunately, Konoha's intolerance caused them to lose a unique ability that could damage Naruto at the age of 6. World genius. This approach is really incomprehensible. Stupid. So stupid everything is what Konoha deserves. People work hard to go out to perform tasks, and because the task levels do not match, I'm afraid it's an experience. The moment of life and death. So desperately for Konoha, but Konoha stabbed a knife behind others. He doesn't treat Yi Kenpachi as a human being. If it were them, such talents would definitely be cultivated vigorously. Stupid Konoha. Surprising things will always be done. Well, after all, they're the #1 ninja village, and there is no shortage of geniuses. I can't understand that other villages don't have geniuses. In short, the two Konoha S-class rebels can be regarded as episodes in the ninja world. For the borderline where friction remains, things like Renren can't be of interest to them. If he can betray Konoha, he will betray them in the future. No matter which ninja village it will not accommodate the existence of rebellion. This is also in the ninja world. A ninja who defected from a ninja village never joined another ninja. Reasons for asylum. This is the end of the betrayer. Konoha. In the Naruto office, there was a bandage on Minato's arm. There was still a little pain on his face. I looked down at my arm. The pain from it felt like my soul was being cut by a knife. This kind of pain has never happened before, not poison, but pain from the soul. Is it his knife? Namikaze Minato recalled that scene. If he were to slow down a little bit, this arm might be chopped off. But the physical pain is not comparable to the headache caused by the person standing in front of you. What kind of? I need an explanation. Danzo stood there with a gloomy old face, next to 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen smoking a cigarette. This is the question of Lishing teacher. I didn't care about my injury, I just asked why I didn't list Yi Bajian. Sorry, I can't stop him, but I don't think as Hokage, there is no need to explain anything to you. If you are not satisfied, just send a chasing ninja yourself. After all, you never listen to. Naruto's deployment is personal, no matter how good the temper is. I'm afraid there will be a little anger at this time. It's a fact that he didn't stop Yi Bajian, but there is no need to explain anything to others. Especially Shimura Danzo, the so-called seniors of the previous generation. He has done everything he can do. It's hardened. Danzo sneered and glanced. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned and left. This look is very obvious. Come puppet, look at the Hokage you supported, now you have learned to resist. The puppet's eyes, Sarutobi responded calmly. Is there no puppet consciousness? For Danzo at the beginning, 4th Hokage had the highest voice of 2 people, one was Namikaze Minato in front of him, and the other was Orochimaru who had defected. No matter how you look at it, Minato is the most suitable one. After smoking a cigarette, Sarutobi walked up to Minato and looked at his arm. If you are injured, take a good rest. I will temporarily help you deal with the government affairs in the village. And Kushina, you need to accompany you if you are pregnant. What is this? Do you want power forcibly? It really looks like yours, Master 3rd Generation. Minato gave a wry smile and stood up and walked towards the door of Hokage's office. But the words of 3rd Generation sound harsh, from the kind of smell that you can't do with me. But Sarutobi didn't know that Minato really wanted to take a break. The injury to his arm does not seem to be serious, but the pain is really unable to concentrate on office work. The appearance of the 2 S-class rebels did make Konoha's atmosphere temporarily depressed. Especially after the family members of the deceased of the dead ninja get their weapons, it is an unimaginable disaster. Orochimaru doesn't know yet, but Konoha several people were confused about Kenpachi's departure. Kurenai Yuhi, Enko's best friend, sits at the door of Midarashi's house in a daze, waiting for the figure after all. Did not go home. Even her best friend became a betrayal. But the level is obviously not as high as those 2 heavyweights, and it is only sea level. But this change made her somewhat unacceptable. As the footsteps approached, Kurenai Yuhi raised his head and looked into the distance. The purple-haired girl was standing at the entrance of the street with a bitter smile. Azuki Yuyan, when the figure in her heart goes away, she doesn't know what meaning is there in her life at this moment. Why, he didn't take me. Pinching her pink fist, the girl turned and left. This is a true portrayal of what is buried in her heart. Nanheshwan. 2 Uchihas came here again. The gathering was speechless, but not so artificially sad. Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Shisui Yi Kenpachi's departure was the most impactful for them. Sitting on a familiar stone, but looking up as if to see the man holding the wine gourd drinking, and the figure behind the heroic swinging a knife, sword sang. Holding a stone and throwing it into the river, Itachi's eyes were dripping with blood and tears. Guyu appeared slowly, but after all, it did not break. Only 6 years old, Mangekyo is still so far away. Shisui looked at this scene and shook his head, but after all he did not speak to persuade or say anything. Belonging to the roots should not have feelings, but that's just for others. Uchiha Shisui's character is so sunny, but he is finally confused about Yi Bajian's defection. The village. Friend, he doesn't know which side to stand on to protect his friends. If you want to protect the village, but reality is too cruel. Friends were hurt and so many people died in the village. Where should he stand? Maybe before he understands this question, he may not be able to face Kenpachi has defected. Maybe next time. Itachi, you next time I will take you to chop Konoha. Jianang's words echoed in his ears, and Itachi lowered his head. In order to protect himself and protect the Uchiha family from suspicion, he chose to go to Anbu alone. But he really wants to fight with his friend, the only man he recognizes. Abandon everything, Konoha. Choose to leave here. What kind of pain did Jianzang bear on his body? With his fist clenched, Itachi looked to the sky. Since then, the training ground has lost a back view. Somewhere on the border of the country of fire, the surrounding scene hurriedly passed by. A thin girl carrying a child on her back was struggling forward from Linne. Anko and Knight Kenpachi, the state of weakness has arrived, and what makes the girl more frightened is the state of her brother. At this moment, the pores on his body are open, and the cracks are dripping with blood. If it weren't for the faintly undulating chest, others would think that this child is dead. It looks a bit miserable. The side effect of forcibly using the template ability is completely revealed after the burst card is over. At that moment, Kenpachi almost fainted directly under the severe pain. Rao was firm in willpower, and after half an hour of advancing again, he finally fell down. The body is no longer obedient. Only the hand holding the knife refused to let it go. With tears, Anko hugged her brother and didn't know how to do it. Blame sister. Why did you become a disciple of Orochimaru? Her brother will never suffer this kind of pain. Orochimaru. Gritting his teeth, Anko lifted his head while breathing quickly. A cave in the distance caught her attention. The chasing soldiers don't know when they will arrive, but if the younger brother can't get treatment right now. Carrying his brother into the cave step by step. Lighting the flame, Anko took out a towel made from the corner of his clothes and wiped his brother's wound. This wound was not caused by Namikaze Minato's attack, but the physical fitness did not meet the strength after the power broke out, and then it collapsed. Anko. You have grown up. A cold voice came. Anko's original posture while wiping Kenpachi was instantly changed, and the figure who had already aimed at the entrance of the cave. Orochimaru. After seeing the man clearly, Anko's pupils suddenly contracted and stood up. Yes, I have the courage to target the teacher with a weapon. With appreciation in his eyes, Orochimaru walked into the cave step by step, but his playful look obviously didn't take Anko seriously. Except for the shaking hands holding Kuwu, the others are like ninjas. Am I shaking? Anko looked at his hand. Is nothing trembling? No, it's her hand. Qian. At this moment, the smell of blood suddenly struck. A figure appeared in front of Anko. Hold the knife and insert it into the soil under your feet. The eyes of the blood-covered child shone with red light. Broken body. But still can't stop the man who relies on the will to act. You are taking a step forward, I swear. Kill you at all costs, net. The knife pointed towards Orochimaru. Kenpachi's face is full of murderous intent. He did not faint, but recovered some strength behind Anko. The physical condition is still very poor, but this does not mean that he has no whole cards to save his life. Leaving Konoha used the burst card. Desperate. It is easier for a person to grow up in desperate situations. The steel-like will is the result of tempering in desperate situations again and again. A little earlier than expected, Baji and Kun. Orochimaru 0.6 stopped and calmly said to Kenpachi. I have no ill intentions, and I can help you. Eyes flickered, Orochimaru pointed to Kenpachi's body. What a burst of power! It broke through Konoha from the front and even injured the fourth Hokage of Namikaze Minato. What a secret is hidden in his body. Give me a reason to believe you. Kenpachi's murderous aura remains unabated. Even as long as Orochimaru makes any changes, he will attack without hesitation. I am very interested in your body, this is the truth. Touching his chin, Orochimaru gave a weird smile, but he didn't hide the greed in his eyes. But, perfect, I won't put my first chance on the perfect container under investigation. It's not the first. Although my long technique has been designed, there are still problems. What's more, it's just one of the perfect containers. The question of not turning the body? Kenpachi was unmoved. Second. You are only 6 years old. I don't want to let me see your value completely. I don't need you until you have not realized your potential. So, Baji and Kun, I have no reason to hurt you, otherwise I wouldn't stand here and say these things to you. The second point is that there is no fraud. Kenpachi knows Orochimaru. And the perfect turning age for no corpse turn is 12 to 15 years old. Obviously, he does not have the value of being a container at this moment. Nodded. Kenpachi retracted the knife. Smart people, but also crazy to some extent. Tilting his head, Orochimaru showed the master's smile. It's no different from what I imagined. Baji and Kun is just like me. It never belongs to Konoha. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 197 The Young Man Wielding Double Knives, Shaokong. Ninja World. Tanokuni, a certain village that is not magnificent, has landed. At this moment, this village is not Yin Village. It can only be counted as one of Orochimaru's many experimental bases. On the dimly lit operating table, Orochimaru looked at the child on it in deep thought. Just now, a certain conspirator in Konoha has already passed the news. It stands to reason that he has a cooperative relationship with him. But in the news that came, there was a desire to get the child in front of him. Danzo seemed pretty sure he could find him, and actively hoped to get this child, and control him under Danzo's command. Even hope that Orochimaru can help, such a pity. He has the same idea as Danzo. I don't want to give this child to the other party. Take a deep breath. Looking at Kenpachi in front of him, Orochimaru's eyes were filled with surprise. In terms of single-round resilience, it is already comparable to the Uzumaki family. At this moment, Kenpachi's original broken body has gradually recovered, and even sucked more quickly than before. Collecting all the nutrients provided by Orochimaru, he still holds the seemingly ordinary knife in his hand. Orochimaru glanced at the knife before, did not find anything special. Even he feels that it is not as sharp as his own pheasant sword, which is the sword of Sora. But since it is his thing, it must be different, spread. For the knife, Orochimaru is more interested in Kenpachi's body. It's just a pity that he hasn't found anything different from this child's blood so far. The place. So this is more worthy of his amazement. There is no doubt that he has no blood limit, but this kind of resilience and the amazing power that burst out are the most valuable for research. What secret is hidden? Orochimaru's face was full of curiosity. Suddenly, Kenpachi's fingers moved slightly and his eyelids opened slowly. The picture freezes in my eyes. It's right on Orochimaru's pupil. Are you awake, Bajian-kun? But his real Orochimaru at the moment is as polite as Kenpachi's friend. This is also the case, so Kenpachi would agree to let him treat himself. Red 04 beans. Gently shook the knife in the handshake, feeling the still weak body. Kenpachi stared at Orochimaru. Asked, his eyes creaking. The door of the laboratory was pushed open, and two figures walked in. Not much to say. Among them one is Anko. Seeing that Kenpachi was already awake, he could not control it and rushed over to hug him. Anko leapt on the bed, and Kenpachi's eyes followed her behind. Others are familiar. The hairstyle is similar to Anko, and the age is similar to that of Anko, but the delicate features and standard face of melon seeds have a different flavor. If Kenpachi reads it right, she should be the Red Lotus in her teenage years. Crystal-style ninja. Orochimaru was the first container that he valued in the early days, but later, because of the gluttonous body of Itachi and Sasuke, he gave up Gurren. Although this girl is also Orochimaru's subordinate, she is a rival to Yakushi Kabuto. In the original book, her ending is pretty good. She has a good life after Liang, and even after the ninja war, she wants to visit Konoha, the hero Naruto. It is not surprising that she is here instead of Kabuto. Kabuto is only 1 year older than Itachi. There is no reason to appear in Orochimaru's laboratory at this time. And the first time Orochimaru contacted Danzo after defecting, it was through Yamato at the root, that is, the information passed by it to each other. Closing his eyes, feeling the fluctuation of the surrounding soul, Kenpachi patted Anko on the back. Bajian-kun. Although the scene where the sister and brother hug is heartwarming, Orochimaru's blood is cold, and he will never be moved by this scene. Yi Bajian is dead, the new name Yi Kenpachi. Pointing to his forehead protector, Kenpachi said calmly. Is it going backwards? Very good enlightenment, backmost. Orochimaru nodded. Leaving Konoha means a new life, a new life. Such things as abandoning names are not common. I don't know yet, what are your plans? Yi Kenpachi was saved, but in the final choice of the container, Orochimaru was still considering whether the child in front of him or Itachi was more suitable. And there are at least 5 years away from being able to use the container. Carrying out living corpse reincarnation too early will affect the life and potential of the container. This is inevitable. So in the past few years, he will observe the growth rate and progress of Kenpachi and Itachi. Who performs better, who is the most perfect container? Practice, then chop over Konoha. A very short sentence. But what surprised Orochimaru was that he didn't hear any tone of resentment or hatred. Yes, there is only peace as always. It seemed to him that it was so small that it couldn't be any smaller. Is this the consciousness of betrayal? Orochimaru nodded. Probably an illusion. He even felt that the child's temperament was above him. Because it was also destroying Konoha, he would always be unable to suppress the excitement in his body if he said it. Dislike war, destroy the things that others cherish, and crush the beliefs of others. Orochimaru is keen on this. So, what is your belief? Is the knife in your hand? Turning his eyes on the ordinary knife, Orochimaru squinted his eyes. Swept, he really dared to say some people believe it, but naturally some people don't. Couchi's Julian snorted, looking a little disdainful. I was so valued by Master Orochimaru, this kid seems to have snatched his place. As expected of you, Kenpachi-kun. With appreciation in his eyes, Orochimaru suddenly thought of something, but if you want to destroy Konoha. The current strength is still a bit worse. On the swordsmanship, I think I am not your opponent, but if you want to learn some ninjutsu. What else to say? But the boy had put Zanpakuto on his chest and interrupted Orochimaru. Feel sorry. You can't teach me anything. This knife is enough. Kenpachi, who has the king of flat slashing template, only needs to keep swinging the knife to become stronger. Especially after using the burst card this time, his desire for strength has risen to a new level. And the daily task has been changed to never ending. As long as he keeps swinging the knife, it is too late to chop over Konoha. The early thing did not even need anyone's help to defect from Konoha, he didn't lose anything. But this kind of behavior like a bereaved dog makes Kenpachi extremely upset. Defection? No, even if he leaves, he should leave in an upright, high-profile manner that no one dared to leave. Not the way it is now. That hypocritical village is disgusting. Destruction is the end of waiting for Konoha. Stand up and walk forward. The body has recovered, but he wants to make up for the time wasted these days. The progress of the first template is about to reach 10%. The second template has waved to him again. Master Orochimaru, why be so polite to that kid? When Kenpachi and Anko left the laboratory, Gurren couldn't help but ask. Just a kid, why? After a calm glance at her, Orochimaru left only a word. Don't think of him as an imp, of course, if you can also break out and hit 4th Hokage with all your strength. The words of the man who was known as the Yellow Flash, when I did not say, leave Konoha. On the contrary, the days became calmer. Bajian, this village in Tianjiguo, felt clear after a round. This is just the embryonic form of Yin Village in the future. When Orochimaru prepares to defect from Akatsuki, the village will be thoroughly planned. The village has a small population, but the internal facilities are not bad. But it has something that Konoha does not have. It's the strange feeling of everyone getting together to enjoy the warmth. It can be seen that the people here are living happily. But these have nothing to do with Kenpachi, and the arrival of Kenpachi has no effect on this place either. It's just that on the hillside at the entrance of the village every day, there is an extra boy who wields a knife vigorously. There is no Uchiha Itachi as a sparring partner, but it is completely contrary to the expected boring sense of practice. His mind is more peaceful. Wield the knife day after day. What shocked Orochimaru was that the snake's keen perception allowed him to discover the growth of this child every day. For Orochimaru, this is a very scary change, as if there is no upper limit of the general growth mode, let him discover the new world. Blink of an eye. A month passed in a hurry. Hey, we have dinner. On the hillside in front of the future Yin village, a young girl reluctantly walked over with a food box. Why should she do such a thing? Did not stop for a short rest as usual. Swing a knife in the air. Ding. Congratulations, Master Host has swung the knife 8,000 times and got 0.2% of the unlocking progress of all the flat slashing templates. Ding. Congratulations to Master Host, the first template has been unlocked by 10%, and the second template permission has been activated. Would you like to draw it right away? Here comes the knife. Kenpachi takes a deep breath and chooses to draw. Ding. Congratulations to Host for getting the second flat-cut template from Shinigami World, which is completely Kurosaki. Ichigo. The absolute protagonist in the world of Kurosaki Ichigo Shinigami. There are 3 abilities in the body: Void, Quincy, and Shinigami. And what Kenpachi drew was actually Kurosaki Ichigo. Do you control the real Kurosaki Ichigo? Ryotsu on his body became restless. The rock under his feet cracked, and the violent violence filled with destruction made Kenpachi's eyes red. Black and gold Ryotsu party together Gurren, who delivered food to the horrible impact in just an instant, flew out. Whoosh! A figure instantly appeared under the small mountain bag. His eyes were filled with shock and doubt. Orochimaru is here. Attracted by this terrifying energy fluctuation, what's going on? He has no idea. Slowly, Ryotsu dispersed. The boy is still that boy, not much has changed. It's just that the knife in his hand has become 2. One black and one white, 2 huge zanpakuto are wrapped around their hands with weird chains underneath. And his black martial arts uniform turned into a black and white tights. Double knife. Knife. Evolved for the white in Kurosaki Ichigo's body. A boy wielding double knives? Orochimaru recovered from the shock. What a terrifying force this is. Has the mysterious power hidden in his body finally awakened? 2 knives. The same feeling of being connected to flesh and blood, as if it is the feeling of one's own arm. After the Zaraki Kenpachi template appeared at the same time as the Kurosaki Ichigo template, such a change was made. But Kenpachi knows that when his master solves, the 2 knives will merge together. The dual blade formation is only temporary, but there is no doubt that 390 asked, he has become stronger. Obsessively admiring the new blade, Kenpachi smiled strangely at Orochimaru below. This is only a month. Wait until your non-corpse turn is completely perfect. You sure? Is it my opponent? He tilted his head, holding 2 huge swords, but fell lightly in front of Orochimaru and Gurren. Thanks. Taking the food box in Gurren's hand, Kenpachi nodded calmly. Damn it, he is stronger again at the same time. It's not just Orochimaru, but also the red lotus next to it. She did not accept Kenpachi's position in Orochimaru's heart, and even threatened to challenge it once after Kenpachi recovered. That time, she lost terribly. As if encountering a natural enemy, the indestructible crystal style is not worth mentioning under this man's knife, and even an understatement can smash her crystal dragon. She admitted that from the perspective of the master's strength at the moment, she couldn't beat the opponent at all. What about Anko? Opening the food container, Kenpachi looked at Orochimaru. Recently, she is obsessed with medical ninjutsu, and has reached the point of forgetting to sleep and eat. Orochimaru took a deep breath to restore calmness, and the container became stronger. He should have been relieved. But now he is a little uncertain about Kenpachi's mentality. The speed of his improvement is too fast, it's almost out of control. I don't need you to teach me anything, this is what the boy in front of me said. There is no cheating. Is medical ninjutsu? Kenpachi smiled with emotion. It seems that he saw that he was injured that day but couldn't do anything, so in order to avoid such a thing from happening again, the current Anko is all about medical ninjutsu. Kenpachi-kun, I'm afraid I want to talk to you about something. 1 month has passed since he defected. The ninja world is still calm, but Orochimaru has encountered something interesting. What? Frowning, Kenpachi asked. An organization named Shao approached me, and the person who invited me to join was very strong. Withdrawing his hand, a blank word is engraved on the ring on it. Akatsuki is quick to organize. I found Orochimaru. But what does this have to do with me? Putting down the food box and carrying 2 knives on his shoulders, Kenpachi remained calm. Then what? Akatsuki organization, it really has nothing to do with Kenpachi. I recommended you to the guy who has fairy eyes. If nothing else, the person named Pain will send someone to test your abilities in a few days. Spread, please be mentally prepared. With a weird smile, Orochimaru turned and left. Maybe, he should really look at how strong the young man who fought with all his strength. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 198 Konoha's Pursuit, the two-sword ninja in the slaughter. Did it intentionally? Or some other reason? At the junction of the country of rain and the country of fire, a certain one is from the forest. Kenpachi looked at the person in front of him in deep thought. He understands Orochimaru's idea very well, and uses the people in Akatsuki to force him to use his full strength. Then Orochimaru will measure his combat power a little bit to lay the groundwork for the future living corpse reincarnation. However, Akatsuki's person in charge of evaluating herself is too weak, right? Orochimaru and Sasori in the distance have completed a temporary team. And next to them are the leaders of Akatsuki, Pain and Konan. In addition, the old man of Akatsuki Kakuzu is also a calm observer Kenpachi. At this moment, Akatsuki's staff has not yet been expanded, and it is far from reaching its peak level. In other words, anyone other than Pain couldn't even seize Kenpachi's intention to fight. Glancing at the loquat Juzo in front of him, Kenpachi's original dual sword model slowly changed. The hand inserted one of the Zanpakuto into the ground, just carrying a knife and hooking his finger at loquat Juzo. This kid. Do you look down on people? The look of loquat Shizang was getting colder. As one of Kirigakure's 7 ninjas, such an insult was unacceptable to him. Of course, he has also felt it in a more insulting way than this. For example, in the Third Ninja World War, one of Konoha's genin was almost kicked to death. Might wear it the men who kicked the ninja swordsman into the 3 auspicious treasures. Because of that person, let Shinobu completely the popularity of the crowd plummeted. In the past, others mentioned that the faces of the 7 ninjas suddenly change, and they thought of the legend in fear. 7 people can destroy a small country, but now, when they mentioned the ninja 10 people, they felt that it was a joke that even genin couldn't beat. Might wears 8 inner gates to teach the world a lesson, telling them Konoha genin is that they will always. Unreachable dad, this is fine, because they are really strong. But why do you treat me with this attitude? This uncle is also one of the 10 ninja swords. Why did you see this uncle deliberately dropping a weapon? Shall we start? He squeezed his beheading knife tightly, and the loquat Shizang looked at Pen in the distance. It was already embarrassing to let the 10 people of the famous ninja sword deal with a little devil. Now he is still looked down upon by that kid. As a traitor, he is not that good at Bing. My sword is already hungry and thirsty. This is the purpose of Akatsuki. Kill the other party. He flicked his fingers and decapitated the big knife, and the crisp sound of ling ling made Kenpachi almost spit out. Broken knife decapitated broadsword looks good, but the only special feature is that it can absorb blood to restore itself. Known as a knife that will not break, unremarkable. This is Kenpachi's evaluation of the decapitation broadsword, and no matter its appearance or sharpness, it can't be compared with his already changed Zanpai. And a battle that was over before it started, on par. Let's start. Emotions are almost brewing. Pain nodded to signal the start of the battle. The members of the Akatsuki organization have to go through a battle before joining the group. If the combat effectiveness is too low, it is not to say no after the Akatsuki organization, even Kakuzu. Nothing that can kill in a flash is contained. This battle is just a little understanding of the strength of the person who joined the organization. Mist Shinobi Technique. The battle begins. Loquat Shizang made a Mist Shinobi Technique without saying a word. He comes from Kirigakure, and he is quite proficient in this trick. The Mist Shinobi Technique, known as the Silent Killing Technique, has no disadvantages in battle. And when this trick is used, it means that the Loquat Juzo has entered a fighting state. Have you used all the Mist Shinobi Technique? It seems that Loquat Juzo is serious. Konan in the distance said calmly, Orochimaru, the kid you brought is going to die. Sasori of the Red Sand, hiding in the Scarlet Who puppet, looked at Orochimaru and said. He still can't figure it out until now. It's just a kid, is it worth it? Don't look at him holding 2 big knives a little bit bluff. This kind of stuff, he's afraid he can hit 10 one by one. You can't beat him. Orochimaru only responded with one word to the self-confidence of Sasori of Akasago. You can't beat him. Yes. Is the puppet technique strong? If the opponent's knife is strong enough to split the puppet, then puppet art is just a joke. That's it. Yi Kenpachi, those 2 knives are extremely hard. Especially after the appearance changes, Snake Pill confirms this even more. Orochimaru has always had a very vague perception of Kenpachi's strength. But being together for a long time can clearly feel that there is a heart palpitating power in his body. And after every swing of the knife, that kind of palpitating power will rise again. What a terrifying way of growing up, but obviously this is not the most pervert. If I was in Konoha before, that kind of pervert training doesn't seem very intuitive. But after being in contact for so long, the opponent can continue the same action with perseverance. Repeatedly swing the knife. tirelessly swinging a knife. Don't be boring, even enjoy it. This is where Orochimaru shocks. Boredom is the biggest enemy of cultivation. If you can overcome this boringness, you will definitely become a strong one. He already has the heart of a strong, all that is missing is time. It's a pity that I thought Pain would do it himself, but I didn't expect it to be just a small shot. Hello. This kind of stuff. How could it be possible to test the strength of Kenpachi? Sighed Orochimaru looks to the field. The silent killing technique has completely spread, and they don't know what happened in the dense fog. Kang. The voice of Jinti Jiaoming came. The two seemed to have played against each other. But what was surprising was that the voice changed again in just a moment. Click. What is broken? Is it that kid's knife? People's eyes widened, but they still couldn't see what was inside. Puff. What? Scream, but the source of the sound turned out to be from Loquat Juzo. The operator was injured, and this mist shinobi technique slowly dissipated. When the members of Akatsuki's organization saw the situation inside, they were only surprised. The kid is still standing there, but the difference is that the knife he is holding with one hand has been stabbed in Loquat Shizang's chest. On the ground, it was the beheading knife that was chopped in half. Why? You can find me. Soul hurt body tremor. The voice of Loquat Juzo was full of shock and incomprehension, but it was more painful groaning. Why does he just want to know why mist shinobi technique is not effective for this man? Sample. The opponent is not from the pupils. Byakugan, who is extremely restrained in mist shinobi technique, is not in his eyes. But even so, when he approached quietly, this man even blocked his chest for defense. Used decapitating broadsword instantly broke and inserted his sword into his chest. Mist shinobi technique doesn't work. Why is his knife on the beheading knife as easy as cutting tofu? This is the Loquat Shizo, the confusion before dying. Mist shinobi technique? Kenpachi looked at the dying man calmly. Under normal circumstances, in order to make the deceased look away, the person who killed the opponent will tell why he succeeded. The classic villain died in the kind of bridge that talks a lot. But Kenpachi, obviously does not have such kindness. Grasping Zanpakuto's hand slightly, and in the horrified gaze of Loquat Juzo, Zanpakuto was in his body starts to stir the friction between the knife and the meat, and the bone makes a pleasant sound. The crunching movement echoed on the court. Close the knife. The blood spilled on the ground. Did not take off the ring on Loquat Juzo's hand. Kenpachi replayed his to Zanpakuto and looked at Pen. Pass through. Glancing at Kenpachi, Pain turned and left. But behind Conan, countless pieces of paper gathered to form wings, and finally fell in front of Kenpachi. Back to the village, Pain will assign teams. Take the ring. The blue lettering on it made Kenpachi squint his eyes and raised his head again. He is the Azure Dragon of Dawn, and the woman in front of me. It is Shaoji's White Tiger. Interesting, after finishing work, although one person died. But this is nothing strange to Akatsuki. Everyone is rebellious. Please be careful with each other. This is the purpose of Akatsuki. Of course, in the late stage of Naruto world, even the people in Akatsuki's organization have their own fetters. It's a pity that now that kind of bondage has become wary. Very dangerous person. A group of people have walked towards Rain Shinobi village. And beside the Loquat Shizang, two figures slowly appeared. The half-black and half-white Jew appeared from the ground, and Obito used his pupil technique to transfer space. He looked at Loquat Juzo's face distorted from pain on the ground. Ju looked at Obito and said something, really dangerous. The kind of means that can attack the soul is not defensible. Obito only reveals one Sharingan with caution. He had no idea that things would develop like this. That Konoha who teamed up with Uchiha Itachi turned out to be the ninja who killed Konoha hundreds of ninjas and severely injured Namikaze Minato. Betrayal is nothing. It's just that there will be a ninja orphan wandering aimlessly in the future. But he actually joined the Akatsuki organization under the recommendation of Orochimaru. This has to be taken seriously. What is his purpose? Or is it intentional to join Akatsuki? Obito didn't know. He only knows that once Kenpachi grows up, he will be a very difficult enemy. Are you a double sworder? The unexpected kid. Squinting his eyes, Obito and Zetsu disappeared in place. Also disappeared with the corpse of the Loquat Juzo on the ground. Rain Shinobi Village. The exclusive conference room where Akatsuki organizes meetings. Pain looked at the few people in front of him in deep thought. Grouping. This is really a headache, especially when the two new people joining the organization are a little weird. It's even more headache. Orochimaru, one of Konoha Sannin, a person who Pen is very familiar with. He even wanted to kill his Konoha shinobi when he was young. Everything is okay. The other member is even more weird. At only 6 years old, the combat effectiveness is extremely powerful dual-blade ninja. Except for them, it's the White Tiger of Dawn Conan. Akatsuki Orochimaru, the Lady of Dawn Sasori of the Red Sand. Akatsuki's Beidou Angle, as for Shaoji Nando just died. Except for Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Madara, these people are now Akatsuki's fighting strength. He and Conan will not allocate teams. They have to deal with Rain Shinobi Village in Rain Shinobi Village. Angle is acting alone for the time being. Under normal circumstances, the people who team up with him are in danger, and the last one who teamed up with him has become his heart candidate. As for Orochimaru and Knight Kenpachi, Pain has no plans to let them team up. They joined Akatsuki together, it is impossible to guarantee that they have no purpose. Let them be together, I'm afraid there will be problems. For the time being, Kakuzu acted alone. Orochimaru teamed up with Sasori. Yi Kenpachi. I will ask your partner to find you later. After a short thought, Pain announces the end of the meeting. Akatsuki organized the team for 3 reasons. First, avoid arbitrariness. Second, assist each other to increase the success rate of the mission. Third, mutual supervision to prevent spies from leaking Akatsuki's secrets. Pain thinks very comprehensively. The combat power is not strong underneath, it is strong in detection and infiltration, so the future battles are left to you. After a few minutes, on the way out of Akatsuki's organization, Kenpachi saw his partner. Not so much a partner, rather, it was the monitor Obito sent to him. Absolutely. A hybrid of Black Zetsu and White Zetsu. White Zetsu was changed by humans who fell into infinite Tsukuyomi thousands of years ago, and Black Zetsu is the meaning of Ōtsutsuki Kagaya. G. Li Jiao Jiao. The plan of infinite Tsukuyomi. He calmly looked at the black and white mixture in the pitcher plant in front of him. Kenpachi stroked his Zanpakuto, then retracted his gaze, leaving only 4 words and then moved forward. Go. Please be careful with me. At this time, infinite Tsukuyomi is still just a bubble. But he did not expect to team up with Ju in advance. It doesn't matter. As long as he does not delay his cultivation, other things have little to do with him. Hey, it's not humorous. Emerges from the ground and definitely follows Kenpachi. That's it. The strangest duo in Akatsuki's organization appeared. Ninja World. Small-scale friction continues, and this age of war is when Akatsuki organizes frequent activities. In addition to hunting ninjas with high bounty, becoming a mercenary active on the battlefield is also their thousands. The so-called mercenary. That person's money will eliminate disasters for others, and there is never a reason to kill. The name of the 2-knife ninja has also entered people's ears in the killings one after another. Konoha. Inside the Naruto office. It is August, but the coolness of late autumn is not something that Hokage can feel. Especially when there are 2 Hokage making decisions together in the office, this feeling is very uncomfortable. Minato's arm has recovered and he has returned to Hokage's post. Except for the faint movement, he has become accustomed to the tingling sensation of the soul. Now, he and 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen are looking at the information in front of him. The dual-blade ninja on intelligence. In 3 months, more than 100 Konoha shinobi have died in his hands. Tap the table. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked solemn. According to reliable information, he is Yibajian. The old man thought that he must send a chasing ninja immediately. Release Hitaki Kakashi as a caregiver for 9 Tails Jinchuriki, and let him lead Anbu Elite. Send. Robbery. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 199. Do you know how your father died? Kakashi. Kakashi. Hearing Sarutobi's words, Minato was stunned, and then shook his head with a wry smile. Leave aside Kakashi's current state. Master 3rd generation underestimated Yibajian's combat effectiveness? Able to wound himself and leave calmly, and was classified as an S-rank rebel like Orochimaru. Is it too difficult for Kakashi to deal with enemies of this level? His only remaining disciple is indeed very strong. Reikiri and Sharingan can exert great power and his combat IQ is also extremely outstanding. But this is so, can you really deal with Yibajian? The information returned showed that the S-rank Renin had also changed the way of fighting, from single sword to dual sword for fighting. He is stronger. Minato can be sure. The most important thing is that among those Konoha shinobi who were killed by the 2-blade ninja, there is no shortage of powerful Jonin. You misunderstood, I mean let Kakashi lead the team. 3rd generation shook his head, he wouldn't do things like sending his ninja to death. This time the teams are all elite. The Jonin is all made up, I don't think he can choose to get rid of it. And with the information about your fight with him before, we have no reason to let him be in the land of fire. Who is not? The anger flashed in his eyes. Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at the photo on the table. The little ghost above looked calm, but no matter how he looked at it, he was abominable. He is revenge against the fire country. Take revenge on Konoha. Report. After chasing like people and becoming rebels, they will honestly shrink to a corner of the ninja world to avoid Konoha. Ninja. But this kid did the opposite, and even took the initiative to attack Konoha's stronghold in the fire country. Even on the front line of the country of fire, the troops' stalemate with Cloud Shinobi Village are affected. If you sit idly by, I'm afraid it will cause panic among the ninjas in Konoha Village. Panic is not the point. The most important thing is where to put Konoha's face. A little devil, the guy called Konoha Genius has become a betrayal. This kind of thing is already ironic. Now the Konoha shinobi who is still staring at the fire country is slammed and killed. Is it tolerable or unbearable? Such behavior must be stopped. After listening to 3rd generation's words, Minato sighed. He also knows this truth. but after hearing Kakashi's name, he faintly felt an uneasy 273. It's not that Kakashi has to protect Kushina. Nine-Tails Jinchuriki is not too dangerous in the village. Just Kakashi. He shook his head again, and the third generation next to him had already issued an order. What can his fourth Hokage oppose? Intentional change, unable to implement. This is his situation at the moment. Unexpectedly, you are getting in touch with Kenpachi. Fire Country, somewhere in Konoha stronghold there are corpses all around. The horror of the ninjas when they died was shocking. The double knives on the boy's shoulders were dripping with blood, but he himself ignored them in vain. Looking around, Kenpachi's eyes lit up. Killed a lot. According to this trend, Konoha should be unable to sit still. Murder aimlessly? Not really. Glancing at his Shikai advancement mission, Kenpachi sneered. There is still a long way to go before the task of harvesting 3,000 souls ends. The liberation of Zanpakuto means that Kenpachi's strength will be greatly improved. Since I want to kill, then choose the person you want to kill. Just like the scratches on his forehead protector, Konoha's ninja is his goal. As for the cooperation that Ju said is becoming more and more tacit, it's just that he thinks he's in a tacit understanding. He believes that his perception and detection functions have contributed a lot. I don't know Kenpachi's perception ability, which is much better than him. It is chakra and breath that I will never perceive. But this thing can be hidden. But what Kenpachi perceives is the soul. No one in this ninja world has the aura of hidden soul. Method: he is the only Shinigami in the ninja world. But Kenpachi-kun, you seem to like to target Konoha? Floating in the ground, White Zetsu must split the corpse that White Zetsu had collected on the ground, and then spoke. It's not aimed, just smoothly. The work of collecting corpses and selling money has never been done very well. From this point of view, it is also good to say that cooperation is good. At this moment, the two raised their heads and looked into the distance at the same time. Saw, Kenpachi-kun, something interesting is coming. Thanks to you and retire next. Withdrawing his gaze, Kenpachi slammed into the ground with a weird smile. It's finally here. The double knives were inserted into the ground, and the breath felt in his mind was gradually approaching. But among them, there is a soul breath that is very familiar. It's him. Without choosing to retreat, Kenpachi stood on the blood-drenched land with his own Zanpakuto. Waiting on it. Whoosh whoosh, people come very fast. Before long, a total of 10 six-paths fell in front of Kenpachi. Judging from the momentum, not surprisingly, the first 5 are all at Jonin level, the worst behind is Chunin, and the rest. All are elite Chunin, plus the white-haired boy in the front. Very powerful pursuit team. It can be seen that Konoha did indeed spend money in order to kill Kenpachi. Yi Bajian, put down your weapons. 10 six-paths figures surrounded Kenpachi. One of the masked ninjas shouted at Kenpachi. Lay down your weapon. Kenpachi smiled. He glanced at the 2 Zanpakuto that he had inserted into the ground. Didn't he let it go? And it's totally meaningless to say such words. 16 people. Can fight again. The breath in the body began to restlessly. Kenpachi slowly touched his Zanpakuto, and at the same time, his eyes change. The left eye is crimson with needles, and the right eye is even more like a wild beast exuding murderous intent and turned into a pure black novel. The copyright belongs to the original author. The text is only available. Please delete it within 24 hours after downloading. Please support subscribing to Genuine Novels. Reject piracy. This novel is made by Dragon, Filu Novel Group 920138438. Internal Group 11425297331. More exciting Filu novels are in the hands of the owner. Welcome to the group. The ultimate power of evil spirits Zaraki Kenpachi and Kurosaki Ichigo. Perhaps when Kenpachi left Konoha, he would be more cautious when he saw the lineup in front of him. But now, 5 months have passed since the defection. For 5 months, under the endless swing of the knife, Zaraki Kenpachi templates have reached 21.1%, and Kurosaki Ichigo's templates have also been excited. 11.1% alive. He even activated the second leveling tool and glanced at his system panel, and the horror aura on Kenpachi began to spread. The second level cut characteristics, Killing Intent Bloom. Killing Intent blooms. Constantly fighting, allowing the power of evil spirits to spread rapidly. Effect. Every time you swing your sword in a substantive attack type, the power and speed of the next sword will be increased. The effect is a superimposed small increase. When the accumulation reaches a certain level, your killing intent will fully bloom, ignoring everything from the defense knife to the meat is too strong to understand the new features after the second template Kurosaki Ichigo unlocked 5%. To understand it simply, every knife made by Kenpachi is stronger than the last one. Of course, this is the killing intent accumulated during the battle, and this effect will not be obtained in normal practice. As for the final killing intent, Kenpachi hasn't tried it yet. Because after activating this effect, Kenpachi has never encountered a killing intent that can sustain it. Enemies in bloom state. From this point, we can also see how terrifying this second leveling feature is. The 16 enemies in front of them are very strong. But Kenpachi still doesn't think he can enter that state. Come on, fight with me. hold the knife in both hands. Like a madman, Kenpachi rushed to meet the enemy. Don't fight melee, use long-range ninjutsu to restrict his movements. Nara 1 Mountain. Clear. It seems that I got the information about Kenpachi from 4th generation, and the month actually doesn't need to be engraved. It means that the opponent's melee strength is outstanding. Judging from the fact that the little devil can wield 2 knives so big and describe it freely, they know the difficulty of each other. Close combat is death. The bloodline on the ground and the corpses occasionally sent back to Konoha could tell this. But, is Kenpachi really afraid of remote attacks? Naturally not. The golden skeletons extend from the body, and the effect of Ryatsu's defense is materialized like a semi-mature body. The beard's physical ability to break free from the shadow imitation of the Nara clan, Kenpachi's figure rushed towards the crowd. 2 different energy forms, but the effects are still similar. Evil spirits began to fight. Only Wailing was left in the crowd. His knife, as long as it hits once, it can make the opponent lose. Your acquaintances are there too, are you sure you want to check it out, Doli? On the distant tree, 2 figures stood there. One of them is the perfect partner with Kenpachi, and the other is Obito with a mask. Acquaintance? Obito glanced indifferently at Kakashi in the distance and said nothing. Hate? Not really. What can hate solve now? It's more dissatisfaction with this world. Infinite Tsukuyomi is what he has to do, but with a penetrating smile. Obito looked at the Konoha shinobi who kept falling from the lineup that was broken up by Kenpachi. I looked at Kakashi who was angry but helpless after his companion kept falling. It feels very refreshing, did not you say? Do you want to protect your companions? Look, your companion keeps falling down, but what can you do? Obito would like to ask Kakashi if it feels comfortable. Killing, blood, this is the main theme of Ninja World. The ultimate destruction of the hypocritical world is the right way. But that kid, while Obito's heart is refreshing, there is a touch of fear added to it. 16 Konoha elite ninjas can't stop a kid. Even the picture in front of us can be described as unilateral killing. Magic strike Kenpachi's substantial Ryatsu defense. And every time the 2 double knives are cut, Kenpachi's speed and strength will continue to soar. A knife is heavier than a knife. What is this ability? The desperate Konoha shinobi could not understand this power before death. Please report, there is no explanation for this ability. What happened? Companion kept falling down. When the blood was completely red on the ground, Kakashi's neck held 2 heavy Zanpakuto. I understand that I am not an opponent of the other party at all. Sharingan Kakashi, but is it a man of this degree? The companions are dead. Your own ending will be the same as them, right? Slowly closing his eyes, Kakashi waited for the moment of death. Perhaps the death of someone like him is the only relief. He woke up countless times from his dreams and watched Lin's blood stained his hands. That taste is simply suffering. Ninjas who have not completed the mission are scumbags, but because the mission does not protect their companions, they are not as good as scumbags. He already understood this truth, but the pain of personally killing a companion is not so easy to relieve. But after a while, the man didn't do anything. Slowly opened his confused eyes, the demon in front of him calmly made him feel terrified. Why, don't you kill me? Kakashi said with difficulty. Suddenly remembered something. Kenpachi still kept the posture of beheading Kakashi at any time and smiled. A hellish smile of terror, especially with those 2 eyes with completely different colored pupils. A breathtaking smile. Do you want to know the truth about your father's suicide? If you want to know, come with me. Withdrawing the knife, Kenpachi walked to Konglin next to him. The truth about his father's death? Kakashi's pupils shrank suddenly. The memory seems to have returned to that night. When he got home, he saw the fallen figure, and the whole world collapsed. But didn't the father commit suicide? Kakashi frowned, and immediately thought that this was the other party's divorce plan. Can the footsteps seemed to be out of control? When he recovered, he had already followed Kenpachi to Konglin. Obito in the distance frowned and was puzzled. Even if he didn't admit it, he still couldn't deal with Kakashi. Nor will I admit that I don't hate each other. If he really hates Kakashi deep into his bones, he might have used means to kill Kakashi and get his Sharingan back. Obito knows that the power of 2 eyes is stronger than that of 1 eye. But he couldn't do it. What are you going to say? Kakashi stared coldly. It doesn't feel so appropriate to use the divorce scheme on myself. He is the disciple of 4th Hokage. After he had approved his father's behavior in his heart, he was relieved of the incident. Follow me, maybe I want to see what flowers he can uncover. Abandoning the mission in order to protect your companions, you did not understand what you used to be, but after the 3rd battle of the Ninja World War God Yubaikyo, you understood your father. From Line. Kenpachi calmly sat on the rock and took out a sip of the wine gourd. But you can understand this truth. Your father understands it, and the senior Konoha also understands. Are the villagers really incomprehensible? And also? Slowly, Kenpachi pointed to the top of his head. Why did the few people your father rescued were so grateful for your father's life-saving grace, but after only a few days, they were relatively cold-eyed and condemned them in turn? Looking at Konoha's White Fang's teeth made outstanding contributions to Konoha. Even wearing Hokage half-sleeves. If he were alive, who would have the greatest impact on him? Seping was talking to herself, and seemed to tell Kakashi. Looking at the lost copy of the ninja, Kenpachi grinned and walked over and patted him on the shoulder. Go back and look up that matter, maybe you have new discoveries. As far as I know, Konoha's White Fang, who can be called a hero, will never choose to commit suicide because of other people's rumors. And you are his son, you know this better than me. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 200. You should be interested in destroying Konoha, right? About Konoha's White Fang, if you think about it, it's not right. The dignified cage level strong will commit suicide because of the rumors in Konoha village. Feel sorry, people who can reach that level of strength will basically not have that fragile mentality. That's because you have to be sprayed to be more autistic to commit suicide. What? According to Kenpachi's analysis, this kind of death has a strong hint. For example, Kun let the minister die. The situation where the minister had to die. Perhaps this kind of thing is incomprehensible in the second dimension. But this is the fact. In the Second Ninja World War, the name of Konoha's White Fang was well known in the ninja world. Hitaki Tsukumo's credit was not only for assassinating Chiyo's son and daughter-in-law, and then getting rid of him in the siege. Let's leave this in addition, he played the role of command in many battles in the Battle of the Land of Rain. Outstanding. Konoha's well-deserved hero when Konoha assassinated the head of the army. But sometimes too much credit is not good. His existence made Konoha's senior management instinctively feel threatened. Even if it is impossible for Hitaki to betray Konoha, a potential threat has already formed. And his strength also made it impossible for the senior management to achieve complete control. Konoha needs the strong to be a dog, but this dog must be completely in his own master and be obedient. So Namikaze Minato is alive, but Hitaki Tsukumo is dead. In fact, he doesn't need to commit suicide to solve the problem, and it's okay for a hero to become a sinner. The big deal. He doesn't want to die, and no one can judge him in a fair and honest manner. But he wanted to prove his heart with his death or obey the attitude of Konoha's senior management. In the game, Hitaki saw things more thoroughly. Why did the companion who was saved by him suddenly rebel against each other? Why did countless attacks suddenly spread from the village? His remarks, why no one at the top came up to speak for him. All these add up to the end of Hitaki Tsukumo's suicide. But these, Kakashi did not see. Kakashi didn't find the root cause of his father's death. I just understood what my father did in my heart. Abandoning the task for his companions, his choice is the same as that of his father. There is a big problem that he didn't expect at all. That is, his father died because his companion gave up the task, but he is still alive. Why not think about it? Kenpachi did not directly tell Kakashi the truth from the perspective of some conspiracy, but gave Kakashi one prompt, let him find the answer by himself. This method is very suitable for people like Kakashi. Of course, Kenpachi didn't expect Kakashi to dislike Konoha just because of his few words. That's not practical. Kakashi's will is not that weak. But lay the groundwork and observe how things change. This is the fun way. Especially now, the chaos of Nine Tails is approaching. When Kakashi's last spiritual sustenance, his teacher also died. That was his darkest moment. Night. Konoha is brightly lit. I could faintly hear the crying from the comforting forest garden where the comforting steel was buried. There are a few more names on the memorial monument. Not even the body is intact. Inside the Naruto office, the atmosphere in the dead silence seemed particularly depressing. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was pale. Namikaze Minato next to him had nothing but a wry smile. Next, Kakashi knelt down on one knee and explained the story without expression. 16 people. The most elite chasing unit that Konoha can dispatch now, only Kakashi himself returned alive, and all the others were killed. This result is too heavy to accept, a long time. Third generation finally extinguished the big pipe and let out a long sigh. Kakashi is yours, you can handle this yourself. Shaking his head, Sarutobi left the Hokage office. My people, please go up. Minato smiled. Konoha has never had a personal ninja, he is a ninja from the village. Master third generation should be aware of this one. But he actually spoke to himself in this tone. Are you blaming Kakashi for doing things badly? Isn't it the chasing ninja you dispatched without authorization? I also stopped, but unfortunately you did not follow my advice. But so many people died, there must be an explanation. This pot. Looking at Kakashi, who looked calm, Minato rubbed his temples with a headache. Never mind. Carry it yourself. The death of his companion again will probably bring a heavy psychological shadow to Kakashi. But if you think about it carefully, is that child's growth rate a bit too fast? Quickly make people worry or even feel scared. Minato asked himself. With such an intensity of chasing ninjas, he could kill a few ninjas all over, but if he wanted to kill them all quickly and cleanly, he might also be injured. But according to Kakashi, after Kenpachi killed Konoha's elite team, his face was not red in heartbeat, and he even had a lot of spare energy. Obviously, he did not explode with all his strength. What does this show? In the future, Konoha's pursuit of ninjas will not be in his eyes. Come and kill as much. What a terrifying growth rate. From the intelligence, we can be sure that a few months ago, he needed to break out some special means to forcibly increase his combat effectiveness, but the Knight Kenpachi's combat effectiveness at this moment is equal to or even higher than the outbreak at that time. Double Swords Rebellion. Needless to say, this is a terrible disaster for Konoha. In the future, the ninjas who will perform missions outside must always be careful about the existence of Yi Bajian, and must even tolerate the other party's activities in the Land of Fire. Is it a dignified rebellion? Minato smiled wryly. If the news continues, after seeing Yi Bajian in the future, you can choose to give up your duties without being punished. Also, the surrounding areas of the village must be more vigilant, and tell the ninjas of the Uchiha and Hyuga clan that are in charge of patrolling and raise their defense level. Go down and take a good rest, it is certain now. To deal with Yi Kenpachi, cage-level ninjas need to be dispatched, otherwise it will be a death behavior. But now Konoha cage-level ninja only has himself and Sarutobi Hiruzen. So here comes the problem. As Hokage, he personally pursues the enemy. If the village is attacked by a problem, who will fight it? And he has played against each other, only his own words must not be able to win, and may even be injured. On the conservative side, he should leave Konoha with Sarutobi Hiruzen and take the elite ninja of Anbu with him. But this is totally unrealistic, because he doesn't have any power to command Lord Third Generation in battle. Raising his head decadently, what puzzled Minato was that he had clearly let Kakashi go down, but he was still standing here. Anything else? Frowning, Minato asked, Ms. Minato. As soon as he spoke, Minato was stunned. This is the Hokage office. According to the system of superiors and subordinates, Kakashi should call himself Hokage. In fact, Mr. Minato, he hasn't heard this for a long time. I miss it a bit. There used to be days when the Minato squad fought side by side. What's wrong? The voice has become a lot softer. After so many years, maybe other things have changed a bit, but the relationship between teachers and students has not changed. I want to know about my father. After a long silence, Kakashi spoke suddenly. Senior White Fang. Minato was taken aback, completely unaware of what Kakashi was thinking. Hitaki's death is a pity. But thinking about it carefully, he, who has been promoted to father level, may understand White Fang's approach. Entrust to his son what he can entrust with his death. Believe in your son. This kind of father is great, but also cruel. If Kakashi can't figure out the truth, I'm afraid he will be in the dark for the rest of his life. I don't know what Senior White Fang said, but I can only say that he is not as vulnerable as you think. Standing up and walking to Kakashi, he patted him on the shoulder. Minato comforted. In his opinion, it may be that Kakashi once again saw that his companion fell in front of him, unable to do anything, and started thinking wildly. Take a good rest. You are not to blame for Yi Bajian's affairs. His strength is beyond our expectation. I am so lucky that you can come back alive. Although he also wondered why Yi Bajian didn't kill Kakashi alone, but those are not important. Kakashi is still alive. He is his only remaining disciple. Pity. This time Minato didn't understand the meaning of Kakashi's words. Even his comfort had a counterproductive effect. Father, isn't that fragile? Turning and walking out of the Hokage office, Kakashi took a deep breath. What he wanted to hear was actually just this sentence. If you are not so vulnerable, why can't you think of suicide? This is simply inconsistent. Thinking back to the man's words, Kakashi finally caught something. Of course, he didn't realize that he had fallen into Kenpachi's calculations. He was just investigating the truth of his father's death from the perspective of a son. He used to be a filial son when his father was most disappointed, even he didn't understand his father's abandonment of the task for his companions. But when he chose the same approach as Hitaki Tsukumo, he understood his father. That being the case, doing his best to make up for the regret in his heart, this is the only thing he can do. Night fell completely. It was as dark as Kakashi's changed road. I heard that Kenpachi-kun is very diligent recently. Yunokuni. In a soup spring, Kenpachi is enjoying the comfort of washing away the blood and dust after killing the jab. Enko is next door. It was Orochimaru who had soaked with him. It's not just practicing Lefen, but killing people is even more shocking to Shasha's heart. Leaning on the rock next to him, Orochimaru stretched out his tongue and licked his lips, as if it were flat. He greets some people's bodies. And his knives. Look at the two giant blades next to him. To be honest, he wanted to see the special features of those two knives. I didn't find that the ordinary knife could change shape before. This really shocked him. I knew it. You should take a good look while Kenpachi is in a coma. Don't make their idea, or you will regret it. He wiped his body calmly, Kenpachi reminded him. With the exception of Kenpachi, everyone else can't move at all. Orochimaru said nothing, but it can be seen from the look in the eyes. He is very greedy. I really want to study. Just about to say something, the ground next to the hot springs squirmed, and Ju's figure slowly appeared. I seem to have told you, don't look for me after get off work. With his head tilted, Kenpachi, the only civil servant in Akatsuki's organization, looked at the Absolute. This is his own way of life. Even if he joined the Akatsuki organization, in fact, no one could restrict him. Except for regular meetings, Kenpachi is still very free. This is also because his hacking efficiency is extremely high, and he has made a lot of wealth for the Akatsuki organization, so Pain doesn't have much to say about it. Off work time. Black Zetsu was a little dumbfounded. Some people really regard cutting people as their work, and the Akatsuki organization as a real organization. However, after cooperating for so long, he also understands that Kenpachi's so-called get-off work is free time to do whatever he wants after completing the monthly targets. That's it. There's a private job. I thought Kenpachi-kun would be interested, so I came to ask. Must explain private work? It's really the first time I heard. Orochimaru next to him also showed a curious look. It was an accident that Kenpachi came to take a bath today. There is also his base in Uno. He happened to come to get the information and met Kenpachi, who came to have fun, so he just dropped in and relax. By the way, tell Kenpachi about Anko. Anko, who is obsessed with medical ninjutsu, has completely changed. In order to be able to help Kenpachi, she delved into those things all day, and even asked Orochimaru to get some information about weird power and Baihao technique. Pity. If Tsunade is here, the second master Muji-cured ninja is about to appear. Konoha is about to change. That person wants you to help Konoha and make some chaos. It's up to you to do so. Mention the interest of the two, absolutely continue to say. Konoha is about to change? Kenpachi raised his eyebrows and suddenly realized. The Nine Tails chaos is approaching. I'm afraid Obito has already learned about the date of childbirth in Nine Tails Jinchuriki Uzumaki Kushina. As for the source of the information, it doesn't matter whether Kakashi, who ran to the Consolation Monument, leaked it or Danzo. The important thing is, because of his own existence, Obito wanted to bring himself along while doing things. Interesting. Squinting his eyes, Kenpachi lost his thoughts. During the period when he joined Akatsuki, Obito did not appear directly in front of him, because in a previous confrontation with Obito, Kenpachi once bluntly said that he is not Uchiha Madara. This alone is enough to make Obito cautious. Including this message, Obito also used Ju to inform the so-called private work. Why do you think I'm interested? Turning his head, Kenpachi stood up from the hot spring, as if he had just come out of a cow. He walked to the front of Ju without an inch and asked. If I were a woman, I would definitely fall in love with you. This terrible capital. Ju coughed and pointed to the Konoha forehead protector scattered around. The scratch on the top is obvious. If you destroy Konoha, you should be interested. Ruined? Kenpachi shook his head. Go back and tell him that I will go to Konoha. But it has nothing to do with his so-called private work. Anko said. She's greedy for Konoha's 3 color balls. That's all. I have something to do today, and I have to go to the hospital this afternoon. I guess I have to run tomorrow. Let's change it for now. If you have time, come back and continue the code word again. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running.